and really looking forward to this matchup of the two most recent MVPs. And both of those guys have had a bit of sniping in the media. You remember James Harden got the ball thrown off his head by Giannis in one of the games last year. The Bucks have probably played Harden as well as any team. They have that crazy strategy where they're forcing Harden to the basket against Brook Lopez. And so the number one thing I'm looking at, Danny, is what's going to happen now that the Rockets have really spread the floor, and are they going to be able to get the Bucks out of that? Are we going to see some Marvin Williams, or are the Bucks going to be able to just stick with the same thing? In particular, I'll be noting it too because Eric Bledsoe and Pat Connaughton are both still out due to recovery from COVID-19, trying to get their conditioning back. Bucks played very hard in their first game against the Celtics. Houston did so as well in an overtime thriller against the Mavs, and Houston continues to need to win here for seeding purposes in the Western Conference.
Yeah, this is a fascinating tactical matchup, and I think it being so early in the seeding games will help. I think that the Bucks mathematically don't have a ton to play for anymore, but I still think that they will. And the Rockets have a ton to play for. We know that already. And I'm also really interested. You brought up how Milwaukee defends Houston. I think that's the number one story. But I think that the number two, which is important, is this is the new look Rockets defending the Bucks as well. They put a lot of pressure at the basket with Giannis. They can have floor spacing. Brook Lopez is a talented post player, even though he doesn't use it that often nowadays. And so I'm really interested not only in how the Rockets defend that, what the rim protection looks like, post defense, but also what the Bucks want to do. And a lot of times something you and I look for is what does a team intend? What is their battle plan against this opponent? And I'm interested in what Mike Budenholzer wants because they haven't had a ton of time. This isn't a playoff series or anything like that, but they do know the Rockets. They're very familiar with them. And so offensively, what is Milwaukee? What is their goal? What is their objective?
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see how they're going to sell out to take away James Harden's step back. And yeah, I think you make a pretty interesting point about the offensive end for the Bucks, and the Rockets now have sold out on switching everything. But they have some pretty stout guys, missing Eric Gordon. But PJ Tucker is a decent initial matchup for Giannis Antetokounmpo. But if you get a switch, how is James Harden going to do on him? How is Russell Westbrook going to do on him? How's Daniel House going to do on him? And they may just sell out to protect the paint. I think that's what I would be doing is make him throw the ball when he gets to the free throw line. Don't let him get so deep into the paint because they just don't have anybody with size who's going to block one of Giannis's shots at the rim. So you got to just keep him from getting there to begin with.
Yeah, and also for both of these teams, really, with Connaughton and Bledsoe being out on the Bucks side, how do these coaches use their bench, and who gets the real playing time? We saw Mike D'Antoni lean super heavily on his starters, which now include Daniel House, with Eric Gordon being out for, let's call it, 2 weeks. And for the Bucks, they just have a different rotation now with Bledsoe out. And so who plays, how much, how hard do they push? Because this isn't opening night. This isn't all the adrenaline of this is our first real game in 4 months. And so this is a test of these two teams that are very talented, but also don't want to burn their players out because they have a lot to play for in September. So how are they going to reconcile those two things?
Yeah, my months are all screwed up, man. You're much better at that than I. I'm still like, it's like the 4 months in between now and then like hasn't happened. I'm still thinking that we're in April right now. It's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I guess part of it was writing the offseason previews for The Athletic and having to change it to this fall instead of this summer every single time. Like that helped me solidify it a little bit.
Yeah. Let's take a look at Houston's schedule here. I mean, we could be in a situation where if this does get out of hand a little bit right away, that, yeah, I mean, I guess Houston's schedule is pretty interesting. They don't play any of the other teams that they're matching up against. Like it's all, they got Portland, but that's, they're not going to match up against Portland. Then they got the Lakers, Sacramento, San Antonio, Indiana, Philly. So all of that is really something that they're not going to be like, oh, we got to beat Denver so we can get the 3 seed, that kind of thing. So I'm interested to see. I mean, this game means the same as all the others. There aren't any real like games you can point to that are more important than any other as you look at their schedule.
That's a great point, and a little quirk of it. Whereas we already saw Jazz Thunder, that was one of the notable games yesterday, and I'm I'm interested to see how D'Antoni approaches it, and it does matter a lot for the Rockets, but not playing any of your seeding battle people will be notable.
Yeah, so we should start here after this break. And yeah, I mean, Harden was unbelievable in that game on
Yeah,
Sunday, or on Friday, I should say, that we did for Dunked on it, as we talked about it, with 49 points. He had 23 in the first quarter. He's come out, he had 30 in the first half of one of the scrimmage games. And who do you think is going to get the initial assignment? And probably Wes Matthews?
yeah, that seems like the leader. They'll throw some other guys on. I don't think they'll put Giannis on Harden too much because you don't want Giannis getting fouls, and B, Giannis is valuable around the rim, and James Harden, is going to be occupying space. And he'll attack, but it won't be there as much. So I think they'll use basically everybody else they can that they think is viable. And going back to those Warriors Rockets series a couple of years ago, these games are always a calibrator of what a coach feels is viable. Like, what players do they feel comfortable throwing on Harden in isolation? How does that change their scheme? What does that mean in terms of their big men and everything else? So I am very interested in what we find out about how Budenholzer sees his players in this game.
Well, I also want to see how the Bucks are going to match up with the Rockets. And, I think Wes Matthews will probably guard Harden. It wouldn't shock me to see Giannis guarding Russell Westbrook so he can help but still guard Westbrook one-on-one. I think Westbrook is pretty much all about going to the rim at this point. And then Brook Lopez, I think you probably put him on a PJ Tucker. They're going to try and set up Tucker for some corner threes because Lopez has been such a critical player against the Rockets in the past. And so I think Harden can't really score at the rim against Lopez. They don't have Capella anymore. He always struggled against Lopez as well. And so that's going to be when Harden drives. Brook Lopez is guarding a three-point shooter. Where is he? Is Harden going to be able to get some space? I think probably the Bucks will sell out, as they always do, to protect the rim. And then if PJ Tucker starts getting going with some corner threes, or maybe they can do both. Maybe they can protect the rim, and someone like Giannis with his incredible speed can still close out to the corner and take those three-point shots away.
If you were either one of these coaches, I mean, I guess we should focus on D'Antoni because he has the tougher decision. How hard would you push your starters? I mean, you said this game, and I agree with you. This game counts just the same as every other one, and it's against the toughest opponent. They're basically teams are playing every other day for this whole time. Everybody has one back-to-back. We saw D'Antoni push them really hard. We saw them in the 40s.
Yeah.
All five of his starters.
Well,
last game.
that was the. I mean, I think that really made sense because, as we talked about, that's the one game that they had against a team that they're actually competing with directly for seeding. So that it made it perfect sense for that to be the game they pushed the hardest out of any of these. This one, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, Harden always likes to come back. Like he doesn't like to sit, but it wouldn't shock me if the Bucks get off to a lead if Houston takes their foot off the throttle just a little bit here, because it's going to be a pretty grueling schedule. No travel, but what is this? 8 games in 14 days for all these teams? That's a lot.
I believe so, yeah. And no surprises in the starting lineup, at least as far as I can tell.
Yeah, Brook Lopez, a massive favorite against Robert Covington. Covington, of course, was outstanding protecting the rim in that Dallas game. And Dante DiVincenzo starting. Maybe he'll even get some time on Harden. They get it to Giannis the following. Harden has the matchup on him early. They're switching everything. Middleton switched onto by Harden. Middleton's 3 is good over James Harden. And you imagine they're going to try and involve Harden as much as possible. So it is, in fact, Giannis guarding Westbrook as predicted. And it is Matthews on Harden. Oh, and they get the backdoor alley-oop. That was beautiful. Wes Matthews did not want to help off of Harden, and that enabled Daniel House to get the dunk. Good set play to start it for Houston.
And great use of the back screen there.
Giannis, unguarded. Yes. 3-pointer, and he's going to have to hit 10 of those before Houston stops guarding him like that.
Might even need to be more.
Harden crossing up. They're forcing him off the the line, and I think they're going to get Matthews for riding him here. Is this going to count?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, so we'll see. Like Harden as well. Is he coming off the overtime game? Yeah, and it was DiVincenzo who reached in on the arm. Definite dumb young player move by DiVincenzo that time.
And that's something you've made a great point of in the past, which is especially players with the most firm handle. Reaching in when you're not going to get the ball and you're not going to get a steal is an even dumber move because it gives them an out.
Yeah, and that's part of the Bucks scheme. As Giannis missed Matthews wide open for a layup backdoor, it's part of the Bucks scheme to really dig in hard for the nail. But Harden is going to draw fouls on them that way. Giannis attacking House, leaves it for Lopez. Tough fading three in the corner. The Bucks could not make it 3 straight threes to open the game. Harden, let's watch how Matthews defends him again here. Backing off a little bit for now. Just wants to go at him in the ISO. Knocks him backwards. Good defense by Matthews. Harden has to give it up. Then Tucker almost throws it away. Covington did well to recover. Harden, it looks like he might have got kneed in the calf there. 3 on the shot clock. House fading away from 2-point range is short. And Daryl Morey's blood boiling at that long 2-pointer.
And DiVincenzo helping off of him didn't cause any sort of ramifications for Milwaukee's defense.
Here's Giannis going to the Dirk fade. A couple of jumpers they forced him into now. Matthews picks up Westbrook in transition. He's got Tucker wide open, was too slow with the pass. Now Lopez closes out well. Here's the drive by Westbrook. House's corner 3, short. And Giannis, one of the best defensive rebounders in the NBA, tracks that down. This is going to be furious end-to-end action day with these two of the highest pace teams in the NBA.
Yeah, it's a great point, and that also getting back will be such a focus because they're dangerous too.
Middleton blows past Tucker, and the help was late from House. And that's like the Rockets, they're all about preventing penetration. Once you've gotten penetration against them, really Covington is the only guy, as Westbrook misses another long jumper. Daryl Morey, is there a temperature above boiling? Is his blood plasma now?
It's gaseous
yeah.
now.
Well, yeah, plasma is the wrong term, right? But nice transition from Middleton. Again, no rim protection. This is looking for Houston right now the way it did in their matchup against Dallas. And there it is, that corner 3 from Harden, but Tucker can't make him pay that time. He is a good shooter from the corner. But Brook Lopez, they are not going to let him get to the rim. Harden made the right pass, just couldn't make him pay. Giannis, as Harden tries to draw the charge, good no call. And now Giannis is fouled and won. And that's 3 straight layups for Milwaukee, all of them in relative transition.
Well, and it's going to be a lot harder to stop Milwaukee at the point of attack like they did with Dallas in the fourth quarter. And beyond that, Milwaukee is a vastly superior defensive team. So a similar level of defensive success in the first 3 quarters would mean that the game is over.
So got bad news that just came across from Mark Spears. He reporting that the Magic fear Jonathan Isaac has torn his left ACL. We saw him go down in that Sacramento game in a blowout. They're trying to work him back into shape. He actually had the knee brace on, kind of reminiscent of Derrick Rose, actually, where he did that quick jump stop in the lane, tried to change direction, and the left knee buckled even with the brace. So hopefully it's not a torn ACL, but usually you can get a pretty good idea. If you think it's torn, it's going to be like they can do a manual test there to kind of see whether you have the stability or not in the front of your knee. Here's Giannis, and no, offensive foul. Daniel House went down. I think he got cracked in the face. Yeah, the elbow as Giannis tried to Euro step around him. And you already saw Harden go down, didn't get the call. Now House still writhing in pain on the ground, but they're going to really try and take charges on Giannis.
We can. I mean, we could take a question if this stoppage lasts long enough, or we could just wait. But you guys can get your questions in with the NBA Cast. We have we can get all the questions whether you're on YouTube, Periscope, Twitch. I have all 3 tabs open, so I'm looking through them. Nate can see all 3 of them as well. So you can ask about this game. You can ask about whatever you want. And for those of you who are not on YouTube, if we are ahead of you, that is the best place to be because YouTube has a pause button that works pretty well for people. So then that way you can pause us, line it up, and do it. If you are ahead of us, hopefully you have some means to slow things down on your end, whether that's like a DVR pause or something else, and then we can do it. But that is something that is easier in our NBA League Pass broadcasts where we'll have 4 of those in the coming week.
Yeah, there's a note that my video is behind my audio. We're just going to have to deal with that, unfortunately. Hopefully you guys are just watching the game anyway. Nobody wants to see what I look like anyway, right, Danny?
I'm hoping, considering I'm like, you get to see me looking up the entire time, that people aren't focusing on that too much.
Yeah, really. I'm like, whatever dumb look I have as I'm watching this. Yeah, hopefully they're not. Are they reviewing this for a hostile act? That really,
Probably.
I mean, that's one where if you get caught on the side of the chin like that, that's one where you can really get messed up a little bit. And, I mean, he's just making a normal move. But takeaway from Celtics Blazers. Danny, anything in particular that you saw in that game?
It wasn't as much of a focus for me because we're doing the Spurs tomorrow, so I was watching Spurs Grizzlies. But I think Kevin Pelton summarized it well, and I'll probably bring this point up on Dunked On about how in the early part of games you focus more on the quality of shots that teams are getting rather than whether they go in or not. The Celtics were making everything early, and eventually that regressed to the mean for them and progressed to the mean for Portland, and that made it a close one. Also, Carmelo Anthony's defense is a problem, but I think we already knew that.
Yeah, it's interesting. They went back to Melo at the end, and instead of Zach Collins, Gary Trent was on fire. He was going to be out there, and Zach Collins, he got caught in some ISOs against Jason Tatum. I thought Collins did okay. I think Collins is a better player than Carmelo. As here we are back. We'll talk more about that at the break. Giannis on Westbrook once more. They want to get Harden going to his left hand to the middle, knocked away by Matthews. Now Covington in the corner over Middleton, and he hits. Nice quick pass there. Harden all the way cross court. He is good at that pass, especially when he's going to his left side. See if the Bucks try and force him to his right a little more. They haven't done too much of that yet. They'll switch this. Westbrook backing way off on Giannis. He'll take it again, and he's off. So 2 straight missed jumpers now from Giannis after he make his first one. Sometimes you just want him to make his first one, maybe. Harden now with the step back on Matthews, and they're definitely a little different strategy here by Matthews. He's playing him more straight up at this point than Eric Bledsoe, who's basically like playing behind him would. DiVincenzo, Rockets defense stiffening here in the half court a little bit. Matthews, now Lopez, and he's going to draw what will hopefully be a non-shooting foul.
Yeah, I think Lopez tried to do the late reaction, oh, I got fouled, I'm going to go for a shot, which is not what James Harden did when, was that Dorian Finney-Smith? No, I can't remember.
It was Dorian Finney-Smith, on Friday night.
Got his hand caught in the cookie jar.
Yes, they are actually giving him a shooting foul on that, which I do not agree with. I thought he felt the contact and then decided to shoot it. That's the sort of play that should, by the existing definition, as they've changed it now. Here, watch this. He runs into him. Oh, hey, I guess I'll shoot it now. You just ran into me. Yeah, no, that's a bad call. They got that one wrong.
I think Lopez was looking to pass that initially. He was going to pass it to Wes Matthews if PJ Tucker didn't commit.
Yeah, so a rough start for this crew. Zach Zarba, usually one of the best, but first a hostile act review that was a terrible idea, and now they're giving a shooting foul that was undeserved.
There will be a memo.
Here's Westbrook back off by Marvin Williams, and there you go. See, PJ Tucker is not being guarded in the opposite corner. Westbrook tries to finish it, and Lopez comes over. They are not going to give you that shot at the rim. You got to find that guy in the corner. Westbrook, he would have gotten blocked twice on that play. Here's Harden on the drive. He's got to give it up. Westbrook goes for the mid-ranger, off. And, I mean, is this going to turn into a shooting contest between Giannis and Russell Westbrook? Let's hope not. Marvin Williams tried to post up. Now he gets out of there as Middleton's going to go one-on-one. He'll shoot it over Tucker. And Tucker's going to get nailed for the 3-shot foul here. Yeah, Middleton crumpled to the ground. Did not appear to be a lot of contact at first blush. We'll get into more of a replay.
I thought it was Middleton's right leg, and I didn't see much of a kick there. It was a little bit of a weird shooting motion, but I don't think it was unnatural.
Well, let's tell you.
Obviously, PJ Tucker feels that way.
Yes. Let's tell you here about Bookies.com. This will be an interesting game for the over-unders, in particular with this 2 of the most efficient and highest-paced teams in the NBA. Our guy Mark Stratman did a pretty good job. You can get free picks from him and Adam Thompson. Mark wrote that he thought that bookies were going a little bit too low with some of these over-unders, and in fact, we've seen really high-scoring games so far, helped in part by overtime. But I think Mark had the right of that. I would have to check and see what the actual over-unders were, but definitely some really high-scoring games. I'm guessing the over is hit more often than not. But bookies.com, not only Mark Stroutman and Adam Thompson, but you can click through to live betting options as well. If betting is legal in your state, bookies.com has the best possible deals, and they also have all of the information that you need. That's why we love them, is the information, Danny.
Absolutely. And so then you can use that, and hopefully you get information from us too. We're not great at turning that into things that can be used for gambling, but other people can. So I'm excited to have them on as a partner, and we have lots more that we'll tell you about them soon. Let's get to some questions.
Yeah, what do you want to start with?
Was there any way from Roy Baruch, was there any way the NBA could implement a home court advantage in the playoffs? And the answer is sort of. There are a few kind of smaller things that they could have done. I wrote a piece at The Athletic arguing in favor of letting higher seeds choose their opponents. That's not the same as home court advantage, but they could have done something there. I didn't like anything that changed the way the game was played, like extra points or something like that. But choosing your opponents would have been useful.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we favor in general anyway.
Sure. Yeah, I do. Okay, from Prolific 5, if the Raptors had been able to keep both Kawhi and Danny Green, would they be title favorites this season? I mean, probably. I mean, so I don't think they would have had the best record in the regular season, though the Raptors did insanely well in the regular season.
Yeah.
It just would have been different in that circumstance. And remember, it's not like they got players that worked out amazingly well, and they Rondé Hollis Jefferson, Stanley Johnson, those more players on the margins. I don't think they necessarily would have been the title favorites on paper, but I very well could have and maybe would have picked them to win the title.
Yeah, when you say favorites, like not more than a 50% chance of winning.
Right,
yeah.
And I mean the Bucks would have had the better record. I think they would. I mean the Bucks were one of the best regular season teams of all time, so it would have been a challenge. But I probably would have picked the Raptors over the Bucks again in a series. I think the Bucks are a weak, as a playoff team without Brogdon, Mika Maker, they're about the same, and the Raptors would have been quite good if they were healthy.
Yeah, I mean, and remember, OG Anunoby didn't contribute in the slightest to Toronto's playoff run last year, and now they give him another guy that could have guarded Giannis, so Kawhi wouldn't have had to do it the whole time. I mean, Serge Ibaka has had a better year. Kyle Lowry looks like pretty much the same guy. I mean, Siakam took another huge step forward. I mean, I think the Raptors would be pretty clear favorites, actually, if he had stayed there. Do you think that Raptors team would be better than the Clippers team that Kawhi is on right now? Yes or no answer, because we got the
yes.
I think you're right. Okay, here we go. Westbrook starters still out there. Well, we got George Hill now for Milwaukee. Matthews guarding Harden. They kick it back out to Tucker, and Tucker is 0 for 2. He's going to get all he can eat. He's got a minuscule usage rate down in the 8% range, and he's going to need to shoot and score more than that because they're going to leave him. Now here's Brook Lopez going into Jeff Green, and there we go. Lopez may have gotten fouled on that one for a shooting foul. Didn't get the call, but banks it in. Lopez's touch, very underrated. You don't see him shoot from that range anymore, but he really was one of the first big men shooting a floater when he was with Brooklyn. There's, again, the pass is too low for Tucker. Good job by Lopez getting out on him. Harden trying to create space underneath to Tucker. Lays it up. No, but nice tip. Springy legs for P.J. Tucker. You don't see that type of bounce from him. Everybody's feeling good right now.
And less than 6 minutes in, we already see the first subs for the Rockets. So I think that's going to be maybe not a larger rotation numerically, but less minutes for the starters.
Jeff Green with a nice tip away. Giannis is on the bench as well. Here's the drive by Harden. We going to get a charge here? Nope. Yes, we are getting a charge. Zach Zarba's got it on the far side. And so both stars have picked up charges trying to do Euro steps in the lane.
Yeah, and fouls, I mean, I believe that's Harden's first, but this could end up being, Harden can pick up a foul with some ease on either end of the floor, even though he's great at drawing them on the other end. So we'll see if that becomes a problem in this one.
Yeah, very interesting that Harden actually picked up 4 fouls in the first half on Friday, but they're not worried about him.
No.
He could just dial down the effort a little bit defensively. He'll be okay. He'll stay in the game. Here's Middleton spinning on Green. Marvin Williams open up top, a little short, and it spins out. Now Harden, let's see how Hill's going to guard him. Yeah, pretty much straight up. Harden will get the step back on him, a little short. Sterling Brown has come on, getting time in the absence of Pat Connaughton. They've got a pretty versatile group here, even with Giannis on the bench. Middleton feeling it off the pick and roll switch. Harden was just late enough getting out there, and Middleton drains it. He's on fire right now. Harden into the lane. Tucker in no man's land. Green swings it. This is Ben McLemore. Yes. Is it Ben McLemore hasn't taken a mid-ranger or made a mid-ranger the entire season? I can't remember which it is.
I believe it's taken, but I'm not sure.
Lopez wants it against Tucker. Not really an advantage matchup, I don't think. They're a little late clock here. Double team help probably going to come. No, I mean, PJ Tucker, Lopez cannot move him. That is great defense. And I mean, I think you get the switch there first, and then you dump it down to Lopez.
I agree.
Rivers crossing up on Sterling Brown, lays it up. Lopez was late with the help, and it'll be shooting foul for Austin Rivers.
Well, and the other point on the Brook Lopez post-up is the Rockets aren't exactly putting a ton of resistance in some of their switches. So do a little bit of early. If what you want is a Brook Lopez opportunistic post-up, do a little bit more early action. Make that an option for your offense. It doesn't, and going to it with 6 seconds left. One of the big problems is if you create enough of an advantage, which he didn't there, to draw attention, then you have an ability to capitalize on it. With 6 seconds, it's going to take too long for the help to come to exploit it.
Yeah, so the Bucks, I mean, we're 8 minutes into this game, and I think they've turned over their entire starting five already. Middleton, I think, is the only one still out there. We'll get a look when they pan out. George Hill, who has been outstanding at a true shooting percentage close to 70% for much of the year. Here's Marvin Williams slipping it. He loves to slip those screens. PJ Tucker didn't fall for it. Now they got Williams in the post against McLemore. Not really an advantage matchup to me. Good help from Harden. Closes the door on him. And see, Marvin Williams had someone open weak side, but he's not that kind of a passer. Here's McLemore. Williams bothered him from behind, but Harden did well to hustle down and tip it in.
Yeah, and so the Bucks, I think it's been some struggles offensively that have gotten the Rockets back into this.
Here's Hill. Now they're going to try and post Robin Lopez. I don't think this is a winning strategy. There isn't anyone out there right now for the Bucks that I want to post up. They don't really have a Giannis here, as Robin Lopez goes right through Harden. I guess I was wrong about that not being a winning strategy. Yeah, Harden.
One foul might be a factor.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Harden really he's usually pretty stout in the post, but he pretty much gave up that time. That was not good defense. Rockets tried to involve Kyle Korver in screening action with Harden to get him switched on. McLemore. Oh yeah, you better step back, Ben. Better step back. Don't take your first log 2 of the season.
And a nice offensive rebound by PJ Tucker. The Rockets don't have a ton of offensive rebounds, but PJ Tucker gets a couple of big ones almost every game.
Yeah, and the Bucks never give up offensive rebounds either. Here's Harden stepping back again, tries to draw the foul, and he's going to get it. Second 3-shot foul, one in favor of Middleton, and now Harden gets his call. Didn't really get a look at it. Let's see if we can catch it. High five contact there. Oof. Yeah, I mean that's very close. I mean, pretty similar to what took place on the other end with Middleton, but I mean, we talked about that many times that just needs to be a 2-shot foul rather than a 3-shot foul, unless you're in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and your other podcast partner John Hollinger has written about that as well. You and I both believe it too.
Yeah. Yeah, so noteworthy here, Giannis is coming back. They spent a couple minutes there with no Middleton and no Giannis, and what were they, like -6 during that period? And they're about to suffer 3 more Harden free throws to balloon that even further.
Guesses on who gets the 8th seed in the West after these first few days. I still think Memphis is still my pick for it right now. They're far from a guarantee, obviously, but they still have an advantage. And remember, San Antonio is now the 9 numerically because they passed the Trailblazers by winning today. But they have a tough schedule moving forward, and so they play Philly, Denver, Utah, Houston, and then Utah again, and with a Pelicans game in the middle. So they don't have any soft teams, and they have a bunch of tough ones. So I'm not sure that it's going to be them either, though they have a reasonable chance. They played much better than I anticipated.
Yeah, we'll have to game that out before we record tonight to really get a good idea. I'm sure we'll revisit that a little bit more. Yes, Ben, our director of basketball research, says 0 mid-range attempts whatsoever from Ben McLemore this season. He is 2 for 8 from floater range.
A question from Tyler FBT on Periscope. Do you think there's any way for the Philly to trade Horford or retool this offseason? I think there is, but the big challenge for Philly is going to be, what are they trading him for? Because I'm guessing that Horford is going to be seen as a negative value contract. So that means if you want to trade him you could trade him for a worse contract. Not that will be somewhat difficult just because he makes so much money. Or you can trade him with assets. That could be one potential way to do it. And so I think that especially if ownership, let's say they want Philly to cut costs, I think it's going to be hard for a deal to happen. Not impossible, but it's hard for me to structure one as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, would you do Al Horford for Andrew Wiggins?
Oh boy, I'd have to look at Wiggins' contract numbers.
I'll tell you what, I had hoped that Horford would look better after the layoff. That was not the case yesterday. He was negative 26, and Embiid was like, I think, and Embiid might have been like plus 26 or plus 28. They lost in that 53-point game by Warren. We're going to talk about that more. I've only had a chance to watch the first half of that game yet. I'm going to watch more of it before dunked on. But yeah, that was he did not look good protecting the rim at all. And I mean, that's if he's not going to provide as much defensively, then it's pretty tough.
Oh, so Andrew Power says, what about trading Josh Richardson? No one really talks about it. I think that is a distinct possibility. I think that, especially if they're skeptical about re-signing him, I think that might be the path to save a little bit of money, get somebody who's maybe cost-controlled for longer.
Yeah, I mean, and if they lose in the first round at Boston this year, it's like, how much are we paying? We could lose in the first round if we just have Giannis and Embiid and some cheaper guys. So you could see, maybe they could look at moving Tobias Harris. I mean, there could be I think pretty much anything would be on the table. Obviously, a coaching change would be there as well. But they, I mean, it was crazy shooting by the Pacers and Warren in particular, but they did not look good. I mean, their first quarter last night was just pathetic. All right, here we are back to action. Good job. They switch out on Corver. Westbrook knew exactly what play was coming. Now Giannis has to attack Green in isolation. Goes for the quick up and under. Missed. Good defense by the Rockets there. Here's Harden pushing it with alacrity. Behind the back, Westbrook bobbled it, though. That sets up McLemore in the corner. Yes.
And McLemore is such a great example of just because a player has a limited skill set, as long as they're good at something and you can figure out a way to make it work, they can be a viable player.
They go under on Hill. His three-pointer is a little bit off. Rockets have done well to regain contact after the Milwaukee's initial surge. Milwaukee's got like 2 points in the last probably, 4 or 5 minutes here. Harden missing the step back. Green on Giannis. Hand off to Corver. Giannis on the nice cut. And Harden was late, but Giannis just puts it away. Oh, they're going to get Harden here.
Oh, that's a second.
Yeah, I think that was the wait and see if he misses and call it if he does. Let's see if we can catch it here.
My absolute favorite.
Oh, yeah. No, he definitely fouled him. What's he
Yeah,
do?
I mean, got him in the bottom.
Yeah, what do you do? He's like surprised. You just shoved it with both hands.
And what's so funny is Harden might be like, well, I didn't hit him very hard. It's like, well, you did it.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, those are the worst fouls there are. Like,
Yes.
I mean, you don't want to put it on the referee to be like, okay, yeah, you committed something that was technically a foul, but you didn't do it that hard. Like, you can't give him that. When you put that decision on the referee, like, if you do something that's obvious, the referees want to call it. I mean, and part of that is just, I think, the way officials are evaluated, too, which is if something like that happens, you're never going to get graded with a wrong call, right? So when referees, if they're kind of expected to blow their whistle a certain number of times a game, just in general, uh, you're going to see that the obvious ones that you can't question are the ones that they want to call the most. And that's how it should be, obviously. Missed corner 3 from Jeff Green. He's playing the PJ Tucker role now. It's really interesting that they're trying to get the switch of Green onto Giannis. Giannis, man, way short again. I mean, just as much as you want to believe in his jump shot, there's just little evidence for it. Here's Westbrook. Oh, and there's the dig down from Braun. That's their scheme. The guards come down, leaving the three-point line. Now Braun pushing it into traffic way too hard, but Giannis is there to finish it.
And the lack of rim protection, the lack of defensive rebounding can both be problems for the Rockets.
Westbrook screening for McLemore, now pops out. He'll just take the no hesitation three-pointer, and that goes down over Giannis. Yeah, who's going to get guarded out there first to the three-point line, Giannis or Westbrook?
Neither.
You can't divide by 0.
Yes.
Rockets doing a great job of tracking Korver off the ball. That time Covington with the beautiful deflection. Brown almost takes it away from Westbrook. Westbrook is pissed off now. He's going right at him and lays it in. Yeah, you could.
And this is a tie game.
Yeah, you could tell as Bucks. What are they doing? Why are they taking their time here? They need to get the 2-for-1. That's DiVincenzo just didn't have it. Now he's going to try and drive. Oh, he traveled. How does that? Yeah, okay. I was about to say. Wow, DiVincenzo, he has not been good in this first quarter. He had the bad reach in on Harden. He really hasn't done anything else.
Well, and the possession before with the pass, he threw a soft one. The Covington just tipped, kind of reacting late because it wasn't really going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, certainly by the advanced stats, DiVincenzo has been a stalwart this year, but certainly questions having not seen him in the playoff crucible to date.
Yeah, and some of that could be attributing credit, attributing blame. That he's getting a little bit of credit for things other guys are doing, and I know the models try to do their best to filter that out, but I think it could be a challenge.
They take Giannis off the floor for this defensive possession at the end of the quarter. DJ Wilson has come on. Rivers trying to go at DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo keeping him off that right hand. Rivers says, okay, I got the 3 for you. Bucks finishing out the quarter. DiVincenzo pulls up on the step back. He tried to draw the foul, couldn't. 3 seconds left. Covington was ahead of the field. McLemore, not known for his vision, did not pass it, and we will go into the end of the first quarter. 3-point Houston lead. They did well to come back from what had been a 24-11 deficit.
Leading scorer in the game so far, Chris Middleton, 13 points on a perfect 4 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3, and perfect at the line. No Rocket has more than 7 points. They have 4 different Rockets have between 5 and 7, including Harden and Westbrook tied for the lead at 7. And you can see the advanced stats thanks to our friends at RT Hoops. You can see that at the bottom, but the ones that stand out to me: Rockets not turning the ball over, 7.7% turnover rate. Milwaukee blocking. I mean, granted, they don't take a ton of them. 25% of Houston's 2-point shots, and considering the defensive capability of the Bucks, Houston 123 offensive rating in the first quarter. Oh, and Nate's gone, so I will answer some of your questions. Oh, that's a note from Dustin Whitehead. Ariza over Mario Hezonja in the rotation would have been so valuable. Yeah, I mean, I would feel so much more confidence in the Blazers if they had that one extra piece. They just don't have enough capable forwards in the rotation normally. They got Trevor Ariza at the deadline for Kent Bazemore, and then now he's opted out, and that was totally within his rights, but it did hurt them a lot. Can Dallas beat the Clippers? Conceptually, yeah, but they would be a heavy underdog to me. The Clippers are loaded with talented perimeter defenders, and that would give a lot of trouble to Luka. Remember, Dallas is more heliocentric than just about every team in the league now that the Rockets have Hardin and Westbrook, so they can take that away pretty well. They also can do rim protection when they need it, and they have a lot of capable individual scorers. So they could, but I wouldn't expect it at all. How does Nate look so young? I'm not convinced he's 40. Sorcery. I think that's probably a good explanation. But yeah, he definitely is. I mean, you can tell it in certain ways about how he moves and stuff, like the lower body injuries and everything else. Do you think that your coverage type is the future of basketball media, or just something to leverage into traditional media? I think it's more the former than the latter. I think that something we have seen in the internet era, which is something Nate and I benefit from, is the lowering of thresholds in order to have a voice. You could think of podcasting here instead of having to get a spot on a talk radio station or any number of other things. And there are only a certain number of major outlets, and so I think that it will probably be on, let's call it, the fringes of this for a while, because there's already like a professional industry for the national broadcast and everything else like that. But if they can kind of concede some space and maybe figure out better ways to monetize it, I think that's the equilibrium here. It's not upsetting the apple cart, it's running another cart alongside it a little bit behind, like a sidecar.
What are we talking
I don't know
about?
if we got asked from Tanner Todd. Do you think that our coverage type is the future of basketball media, or just something to leverage into traditional media?
Um, no, probably the former, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
All right, we are back here. Green screens away for McLemore. Easy three, not there though. Houston definitely going after Horford defensively at every opportunity. Middleton, two-man game with Giannis. Now DiVincenzo, they switch onto him nicely. No advantage gained. Giannis trying to post up. Rivers doing a nice job preventing that. DiVincenzo has to go one-on-one. Fades away and scores. But I think the quality of shots that Milwaukee is getting in the half court have been poor.
Yeah, they had a good stretch early on, and then it shifted pretty dramatically.
McLemore, oh man,
Oof!
he is feeling it now. Two straight three-pointers. That was deep. Now Giannis, semi-transition, has to give it up to Middleton. Middleton has the size inside it. He goes up, faked Covington nicely, and scores.
And I like him using patience there, knowing that the Rockets would be a little bit jumpy.
Westbrook wants to get DiVincenzo into the post. Green, and we're going to get a defensive 3 seconds, I think, here on Ilyasova.
And it's hard for Ilyasova to argue that he was guarding anyone when the guy he was covering was behind the three-point line.
Yeah, that time you saw in transition, McLemore, it was the Pels, I think, who first popularized this with that guard screening in transition and then rolling to the rim because there's no bigs back, so
Wait,
you might as well have the guard
should we
roll.
talk about Russell Westbrook taking that technical free throw? I mean, he made it, but...
Yeah, I was surprised to see that.
Sorry, I interrupted you, but
that's all right. It's that puts the score approximately 1,000 to 1 on that score in each direction, so I could deal with it for once. Another corner three from House, and Houston, is this 3 threes in a row by them now? In 3 possessions,
Yes.
9 points in 3 possessions. Middleton back to goal against Rivers. Help coming from House. They swing at DiVincenzo. Great rotation by Green. DiVincenzo has to go one-on-one again. Baseline, throws it away. Push from Covington comes. This will be interesting. He's not a great dribbler. Goes into Middleton, and they do get a blocking foul. I think if I'm Middleton, I just kind of let him go. I think he's known for missing those layups a little bit.
Well, and DiVincenzo, something that you and I have wondered about with him, and yeah, he's young. Like, the DiVincenzo, currently 23 years old. Will he be able to develop that one-on-one creator game? Because he can be a cog in the machine if he's a reliable catch-and-shoot guy, great hustle defender, great rebound hustle guy, and kind of some opportunistic steals. But that role, like, you kind of want him to expand. Not everybody can be Pascal Siakam, but you want players to start out being good, or the Celtics guys, good at what they do, and then eventually do more and more and more. And I'm not all the way there with DiVincenzo.
Yeah, so really the Bucks need to get more movement in their offense. They need to get more quick slips. I mean, the switching is really working against them. I mean, they've got 9 points in the last probably 8 minutes of play. Corver switched onto nicely by Westbrook. They screen for Giannis at the foul line. Then he blows right past Green for the layup. And you got to be ready with the help there if you're Houston. knowing that Green is on an island against Giannis. Here's the back to goal. Westbrook tries to go through DiVincenzo, and I think we're going to get a foul here as DiVincenzo's arm came down on Westbrook. No, apparently not.
I think they're just calling
just
that.
out of
I
bounds.
think DiVincenzo's arm was wide enough that he knocked the ball but didn't get Westbrook's arm.
Yeah, I was looking at the baseline official, and it looked like he was about to call something, and then he didn't. They're going at DiVincenzo again, the two number zeros. Westbrook to his right. Help comes from Ilyasova, gets him on the arm, and Westbrook will take another couple of free throws. Good thing that technical got him in rhythm.
Well, in the challenge of Ersan Ilyasova, now that the Bucks have Marvin Williams, is just he's not as good a rim protector as the Lopez twins. He can't really switch in the way that they do, and so I just think he's not fully a man without a country. But I think leaning on him heavily is unnecessary now.
Well, I think part of it
that.
is just simply that they want to keep everyone fresh. Marvin Williams returned from a groin strain. He got some minutes. I'm guessing he's only probably going to play like 10 minutes or so, and
I agree.
He's a veteran, so they do need another backup big out there in theory. I mean, I think I'd be surprised if anyone plays more than 30 minutes in this game for the Bucks. So if you're going to do that, you got to get a little more. But I agree, in the playoffs, I certainly agree that.
Yeah, and that's where I was getting with.
Yeah, that he should not, in fact, be in the rotation. Off-ball foul. Looked like House was holding Korver on that one.
Yet again, lamenting that we can't see team fouls on the broadcast.
Middleton. And, yeah, there's going to be a hold on Austin Rivers. Good pressure from House here. They knew what play he was running. And, yeah, I don't agree with that call on Rivers. I thought that should have just been a no call. Giannis went down. He kind of tripped, but Rivers just held his ground.
And something that I always focus on, early quarter fouls, especially in the second and fourth. Some of these have been by starters, but that can lead to the opponent getting into bonus earlier and also, unfortunately, a slower game.
Got to give credit for Houston. They have been much more locked in terms of their switching since the early going. Now they finally Korver off a screen. Covington late to get out there. They actually screened. It was actually probably Tucker who should have gotten out there in theory. Now here's a three from House. Tucker with his second offensive rebound. Drive by Westbrook into Giannis. That could have been a foul if he'd kept going. Instead, it's House's corner three is good.
Houston now 8 of 19 from long distance, I believe.
Yeah, and Ilyasova was looking to take the charge there. That left House open for the layup. And now we're going to get DiVincenzo with his 97th turnover of the game. He elbowed P.J. Tucker right in the gut. I do appreciate the sentiment from DiVincenzo trying to push it, but he's been discombobulated so far. But good for Budenholzer to get DiVincenzo these reps against a good team. Giannis comes over. Westbrook's pass went awry. It was stolen by Middleton. Now here's Giannis right down the middle. Ilyasova was late with the cut. Then he drives on. And when Ersan Ilyasova is going right to the rim like that, your team probably doesn't have a ton of rim protection out there.
Yeah.
Westbrook at DiVincenzo again. Giannis comes over. And you see the ground that Giannis covered to force that pass that then got intercepted. Here's Middleton feeling it on Covington. Man, Chris Middleton is just on fire right now. These aren't even touching the rim as they go through the net. He is now 17 points, 6 of 6, 2 of 2 from downtown. That might not even be updated for that latest make. I think he's made 3 3-pointers already.
Yeah, I think they might review whether his toe was on the line there. A little bit of a score update. Dallas-Phoenix. Dallas is up 21-15 with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. Hopefully you stay attention here. This game has been pretty fun so far, but just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, you know what I just realized, Danny? If we wanted to do like a what did we call it? The like the thing where it's basically we call it crunch time, right? Yeah, I think we called it crunch time, and then NBA TV, probably not knowing that we had called it that, also started calling it crunch time. But we might be able to do that this year, though, because we would have to, every time we change the channel, we'd have to sync up.
You mean the thing that we should have people pay so that they could see how much of a pain in the ass it is for us to sync up?
Yeah, it really was out of some like 50s movie. We're like, oh, synchronize your watches as we're like trying to sync up our TVs so that we're not like both off from one another. All right, let's do some questions.
Oh, this is a good question from Danny Karolak or Karoliak. When Eric Gordon returns, do the Rockets go 9 deep in a playoff series, or is Austin Rivers bounce rotation? I think they go 9 deep. I don't think all 9 are going to play a ton of minutes, but I think there are 9 guys that D'Antoni trusts there, so I think they'll go 9 deep.
I would posit that McLemore would be more likely to get bounced than Rivers.
Sure, I would agree with that.
Although, I'm not sure about. I mean, Rivers is definitely the more versatile defender. He's tougher. They need some more ball handling at times, but also I think that McLemore's offensive skill set makes more sense. We should tell the people about bookies.com before we resume as well here, Danny.
Absolutely, and I was looking at their picks for today, and Adam Thompson had 2 picks that were already of games that are settled. He picked the Nets over the Wizards. That looks awesome. I mean, they won by 8, and it was a 4-point spread. And the Magic over the Kings. The Magic won by, last time I saw it, about 1 billion points. I don't know what the final score was.
They covered. They covered is the point.
They covered. Yeah, they covered. And so, you can get that opinion. You and I don't necessarily take our inputs and put it into spreads and things like that. But fortunately, bookies.com/NBA, you can get that there.
Yeah, and also a good reason to go there. These picks are all free. Everything there is free, all of their information, and they also have great deals to click through to legal betting in your area. So, and they offer the best deals of anyone. So go check them out at bookies.com, and also they're kind enough to sponsor this cast. We probably wouldn't be doing this right now, actually, if it weren't for them. So that's another reason I like them as well. Let's turn to this game. Anything else that sticks out to you here early on before we resume?
Milwaukee's half-court offense.
Yeah,
I think that in the early going, they were getting some pretty good looks. Also, Chris Middleton making everything in sight. They've really slowed down. It's kind of been a microcosm of that Dallas game, and I think some of that is Houston doing better. They deserve a lot of credit for tightening up their rotations, but also I don't think Milwaukee's putting as much heat on Houston as they did early.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and see if we can get some transition details from Cleaning the Glass next break. Harden has returned, as has his foil Wes Matthews. They really want to go at DiVincenzo, it looks like, and Rivers wanted to foul it, but borderline. I don't think that was a great one. They throw it off the back of Lopez's head. Now Middleton has Tucker, putting him in the mix, fades away, short. First miss for Chris Middleton. Here's the drive from Harden. He's got Tucker in the corner. That pass was off, though. It's got to be on target because Brook Lopez is selling out. You run PJ Tucker off the line because he's not going to do anything else. Now he gets a wide open 3, and he's 0 for 3. He's got to make shots for this Houston team against this Bucks defense.
They could have given Harden his third on that box out. That was a pretty lazy push.
DiVincenzo attacks Harden. Harden gets or are they going to get Harden for this? Let's see. Wow, that was a little tiny swipe. Who'd they get for that?
I'm seeing Harden with his third foul.
Oof, man. I mean, 2 absolute cheap ones here. Lopez in the post against Tucker. Why don't they go at a better matchup here? I mean, there's a few guys that Brook Lopez can't back down, but PJ Tucker might be one of them.
Yeah, and four of the guys he can back down are also on the floor.
Harden, we saw him go often to that left-handed behind-the-back pass out of pick-and-pop situations as Covington slips it. He actually stepped in for a 2-pointer. Middleton, pick and roll with Lopez. Marvin Williams is returned. Here's DiVincenzo's corner 3. Rockets now have numbers 3 on 2. Tucker's going to the corner. Harden drives, and they give him the foul here, and I'm not sure I agree with this one.
It seemed like the defenders were pretty. Yeah, I mean, it looked like.
Yeah, I mean that to me should just be a no call. Like Chris Middleton, he's got his arms up, and yeah, he's moving a little bit, but he's not really beat. Like that's one where you could just, that to me is just legal contact. Like you don't need to make a call either way on that one.
I agree with you completely.
But Harden will in fact shoot 2 free throws.
And Harden, he's only 2 for 6 from the field overall in this game. But now that he's gotten to the line for another couple free throws, I think that's important. And we'll see if that can continue. The Bucks, not only are they great at protecting the rim, they're also great at not fouling, generally.
DiVincenzo, as nice denial by PJ Tucker on Middleton, took away the play that they wanted to run. Now DiVincenzo drives into two guys again. Tough lefty finish by DiVincenzo. He's shown a little juice with the ball on occasion here. They go at Harden. He'll take the three off a normal pick and roll. Man, it's been a long time since we've seen James Harden shoot a three like that, but he looked a little out of rhythm, frankly. Middleton shoved from behind by House, and that'll be
Milwaukee's got to be close to the bonus here. That was either the fourth or fifth.
So we mentioned the half-court situation. Half-court offense actually pretty similar here. But Milwaukee forced to take 84% of their shots in the half court, and they are actually have a lower efficiency in transition than they do in the half court.
Wow.
That's a surprise. Maybe that's just all those Middleton shots. Wow, great defense again by Tucker. And I mean, that would have been backcourt if he'd still been in bounds, maybe. And 6 to shoot here, as the Bucks don't have a great option out on the floor to create something in the late clock right now.
Yeah, maybe they'll try Brook Lopez posting up PJ Tucker again.
Try to get it into Middleton. He's right along the sideline. Oh, and he steps out. They wanted it. I can't see who that was. That rocket staffer who was pointing it. And then Middleton scores again. I think that might have been John Lucas. Westbrook goes to the mid-range pull-up, and again, Bucks are going to give him that shot for a long time until he makes them. Tried to get the backdoor to Williams. That pass was intercepted. Harden puts Matthews in the mix. His three does not had the touch from three-point range yet. But if he were making a few threes, think of where they would be.
Yeah, Harden 2 for 7 from the field so far.
Hill off the nice back screen. Harden too late. And what are they going to get? They're going to get Williams for the illegal screen? No, they stepped in the corner. Let's see here if Middleton did in fact step out. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Westbrook back to Covington, popping out for a three above the break. Again, that's always going to be there for a big man, which Covington is in this system. And now Middleton tried to push it. Harden did well to slough off him. Harden pulls up, not shy, even with the misses, and he gets his first make from downtown.
Yeah, so now we're up to a 9-point lead. Milwaukee, I'm trying to see what their maximum lead was. I'll check that for the next break.
I think it was a 13-point lead. I think they led 24-11 at one point. Tucker fronting Lopez in the post as they try to get it into him. Great pressure again from House. They finally get it to him with 10 on the clock. Lopez not known for his passing. And are we going to get an offensive foul here?
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard to see. It's a little harder to see what the calls are because the referees are standing a little further back than normal. So you can't really see them as well. They're standing further on the baseline without any fans there. Yeah, Tucker did a good job of accentuating the contact there.
Yeah. The second bump.
But again, we talked about this. Like, if you're going to post him up, just get a switch. They're switching anything. Here's Harden feeling it after another one, and their half-court defense on Harden has been fine. They aren't doing that crazy scheme against him right now. Hill switched onto by Covington. Swing it to Marvin Williams. His drive, floater. Rockets will take that, though. Russell Westbrook gave that up, though, because he didn't know where he was supposed to switch, and that's why Williams was wide open. This time, Westbrook makes the judicious pass to the corner, and Tucker just can't hit anything right now. Giannis pushing it, and that's got to be a blocking foul on House, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that moment when Giannis Antetokounmpo is at half court and he thinks he has an opening and he just kicks it into gear. You see, it's just one dribble from half court is all he needs. It's insane.
Yeah, now the Bucks are in the bonus, as I thought I'd counted the fouls right. Sometimes it's hard to do.
Yeah, Giannis is going to get his knee looked at. I think this is just infection control, nothing worrisome for his availability going forward here. So it's really getting back to those transition stats. It's really been Houston that's been awesome. They're averaging a 167 offensive rating in transition, and according to Cleaning the Glass, transition has already added 12 points in this game to what you would normally expect. So that is really outstanding. And the Bucks, they're down to 100 offensive rating in transition. They've actually lost points in transition compared to what you would normally expect. And so, I mean, if you look at some of these numbers, Bucks only running on 19% of Houston misses. That is a very low number. And this is a Bucks team that runs a ton, particularly for three-pointers. And then Houston, by contrast, running on 36% of Bucks misses.
Yeah, and also Milwaukee only getting a transition opportunity on 2/3 of their steals. But I think it's a pretty small sample size. Yeah, they have 3 steals in the game. Houston already has 7.
Yeah, that's been a big part of it. Bucks have had some ugly turnovers, but part of that has been Houston switching, forcing guys to go one-on-one in ways that they aren't necessarily comfortable with. And Houston also does a good job when they're locked in of helping off shooters. Harden to his left. There's that behind-the-back pass. Covington 3, a little short. Westbrook fighting for the rebound, recovered by Brown. Brown will push it, lobs it to Giannis, but way too short. That should have been a dunk. It was just a bad pass. Now Brown has the matchup on Harden. Harden puts him in the mix, stepping back. He's open, short. Bucks controlling the damage a little bit here, now down 6. 2 screens set for Giannis. Into the post, they're looking for Williams. Now swing it to Matthews. His drive, taken away by Harden again. Harden on the drive. Giannis is behind him. Oh, goodbye.
Oof.
Oh.
And Harden claiming he was fouled. I mean, to me, you could have called a foul on Harden elbowing George Hill there.
Yeah, that was Giannis had him sized up over half court, and with this nice little MVP rivalry between the two, yeah, absolutely. Harden shoves Hill off, and that is a good block by Giannis.
Was it possibly over the cylinder?
You see that? Actually, Harden tried to push Hill off and then grab Hill's arm after that. Great no call on that one.
That might have been over the cylinder a little bit, but generally defensive players on help blocks get the benefit of the doubt.
Especially when it just looked like he had him dead to rights like that, right?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, okay, it looks like he's just going to go in for the layup. He clearly got there late. Like Giannis was sizing him up for quite some time. Let's hit some more questions.
Let's see. So, somebody said, do you think Horford is on pace to become the worst contract in the league?
Oh, wait, hold on. I got to interrupt you here. Harden actually got called for that foul pushing off, which he absolutely deserved because he shoved off and then he tried to grab Hill's arm afterwards, which is also a foul. So that's his 4th. D'Antoni is challenging it. He's not going to win, though.
No, he pretty clearly pushed off. Okay, let's.
Yeah, sorry about that. Let's get back to the question though.
Oh, that's a good question from Elliot Witherland. Is this the year the best chance for the Clippers to win it all? Do they lose overall talent from having to pay and re-sign their pending free agents? I don't think so. I think it's probably next year. You could make an argument because the Lakers are, LeBron getting older is a larger consequence than any of the Clippers.
I totally disagree with you actually, and here's why.
Interesting.
Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving are all not playing this year. So they're going to have a harder road out of the West, I think. We'll see what happens with the Warriors, too, though, of course. But I think that Warriors team could be back, at least in the playoffs, to being like a real juggernaut. I mean, the Lakers, I would say this is more the Lakers' best year, too, though.
Yeah, that was something I was going to say.
I mean, now you can make the argument with the Clippers that they'll have more continuity next year. But yeah, who knows? Maybe Montrezl Harrell isn't on this team anymore. Maybe they trade Lou Williams. It could be their best chance, but I would say I would look more at the Lakers as being like that team, and you're really going to focus in on that.
Okay, so who of the Grizzlies, Mavericks, Pelicans, and Hawks has the brightest future? I'm going to go with the Mavericks because they have the MVP caliber player already. It is possible that one or more of the other teams do. Dallas is also a well-run organization, mostly and they also have Porzingis, who I think is a logical fit. So they're more set than some of those other teams, but I think being more set where they are is beneficial. Also, ownership is the biggest competitive advantage in the NBA, and Mark Cuban is willing to spend.
That's a great point. And I mean, we kind of did that when we looked at who has the best young cores, that podcast that we usually do. Yeah, so Harden, he hooks George Hill's arm, he shoves off, he hooks his arm again.
Yeah, clear push off.
I mean, incredible coordination by James Harden to continue to dribble and attempt to hook George Hill's arm at the same time. And
Harden may have been hurt there by having a referee on the backside who was in exactly the right position to see the push.
yeah, but I mean, I love that. Like, you're going for call-seeking behavior. How about this, James Harden? You got a 6'2" guy back there in front of you. How about you just, like, drive to the basket and try to make a layup? Why don't you concentrate on that instead of trying to draw a foul call? You're one-on-one against a tiny guy in transition. Just go score. Speaking of scoring, Giannis goes right through Covington. And this is a point that I think it might have been Seth Partnow made during Friday's game. Covington is the tallest guy, but he might actually be the worst guy for guarding big guys on this team. Tucker, man, he is just totally off. I think that's 0 for 5 now. Giannis accelerates, blocking foul on Green, bucket.
And now a lot of the heat goes to, for the Rockets, is how are they going to generate reliable offense, especially in the half court? Because Russell Westbrook hasn't done a ton of that so far, and now they don't have the threat of Harden as a shooter, too.
Yeah, clear blocking foul here on Green. Oof, man, that was very close for Giannis landing on him and either hurting Green or hurting his own ankle. And, yeah, I mean, you look at this group now for the Rockets. It's Westbrook, not really a shooter. Tucker has been way off. Green is kind of questionable with his three-point shooting.
And now having guys like Ben McLemore who can shoot but can't create their own shot becomes a bigger problem.
Well, and frankly, James Harden with his foul trouble, he has no one to blame but himself. He's had 3 fouls that were just absolutely asinine plays by him. Westbrook using his size against Matthews, knocking him back and fading away off the glass. And yeah, I mean, you know, it's funny, Danny, it doesn't seem like Giannis has done that much. He's got 18 points. Like, yeah. And I mean, because he hasn't even been playing like half the quarter, it seems like. There's George Hill stopped from behind on this strip. McLemore got him that time. Westbrook, swing it. Covington has all day from the top. And yes, he does convert, and Houston leads by 6. So there's a couple of big buckets here, those 5 points. The jumper off the glass from Westbrook, and then the transition off the turnover leading to the Covington 3. George Hill trying to screen for Giannis. Giannis calls him over again. He wants Jeff Green. Tucker getting set up to help in the lane. Giannis Euro steps. 3-pointer by Matthews. Oh, yeah. And all 5 Rockets basically had a spot in the lane. And I put that one on McLemore. He's guarding Sterling Brown underneath. As Westbrook hits another jumper off the glass.
Well, go ahead.
McLemore is guarding Sterling Brown standing in the dunker spot. Like, get out there to the corner. You know that's where the pass is going. He wants to throw it to Sterling Brown. Fine. That's great. It's behind the backboard. Go ahead. And so he should have had more anticipation there. Yeah.
So what I want to mention is I posited that when James Harden went out of the game that the Rockets might struggle with the personnel on the floor. Russell Westbrook has generated 3 pretty good looks here. He made one pull up himself and then got fouled there and had the pass to the corner.
Yeah, and the element that Westbrook adds that they didn't have with Chris Paul is they went from basically the slowest team in the league to the fastest just about. And you're seeing that they've killed Milwaukee in transition. Here's Giannis, knocked back Covington but couldn't convert. Got a good look. Now Westbrook again. They better get back here, and you can set up another wide open corner 3, and that misses. So this lineup is Giannis and Marvin Williams as the bigs, but those bigs got to get back against Westbrook. DiVincenzo, as Green just fell asleep, but he misses.
Well, and what's crazy is this is a lineup for the Bucks that you can play your big men with impunity. There's no who's going to hurt you to play if you have like Brook Lopez in there or somebody else. Like just give those guys. This is when you have those minutes.
Well, Bud agrees with you, and Brook Lopez is at the scorer's table right now.
Yeah, but they missed like 2 minutes where they could have gotten some advantage there.
I agree.
Then you wouldn't have had to help, like they wouldn't have had to help as aggressively around the basket and giving up those threes if they knew they had a big guy there.
Yeah, well, and it's going to be Giannis actually sitting down with those 18 points, 5 assists.
Where is he in fouls?
Just one.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think this is just 14 minutes for Giannis, 18 points. I mean, the per minute numbers that he has. Granted, it's easier to do that when you're not playing as many minutes, but it's per minute his numbers are. I mean, this is one of the best seasons in NBA history that he's had in this regular season. Westbrook has had the touch from the foul line, 5 of 6. Makes that one. So we've got about a minute left here. They're looking for DiVincenzo off the screen. PJ Tucker denies him beautifully. They're taking him out of their offense. It's one-on-one now. Middleton against Covington, trying to force him left. Help is there at the nail from Tucker. Great job. No advantage gained. DiVincenzo has to create again, and it's going to be a blocking foul on McLemore. Bails him out.
Yeah, so now DiVincenzo gets to go there for 2. He has struggled overall in this game. 2 for 5 from the field, 4 turnovers, 0 assists. And he's the only Buck starter with a negative plus minus because he was out there in some of those rough minutes without Giannis on the floor.
Yeah, and you guys can see this. We don't. I mean, these Bucks turnovers, we probably should have been talking about it more. 26% turnover rate from Milwaukee, and now Giannis is going to return, replacing Marvin Williams, interestingly. Not sure if there was a Houston sub that prompted that.
And DiVincenzo just missed both of those.
Yeah, but Bucks get it back. They've got time for a 2-for-1 here if they want it. Instead, Hill turns it over again. No, it's going to stay with Milwaukee, but 6 to shoot. Yeah, I mean, this is 14 Bucks turnovers. Houston getting a ton of deflection. I mean, this has been below a 100 offensive rating for Milwaukee. This has been excellent Houston defense when we wondered if they're going to be able to hang with Milwaukee. 6 to shoot. Giannis at the elbow taps it back. Middleton. What a brilliant pass from Giannis. DiVincenzo loves to offensive rebound, but he couldn't get that one. Westbrook, is he going to have time for the 2-for-1? Pulls up on Giannis. Short. And he didn't really quite get it. They've only got about a 2-second differential here.
And I would actually, I continually say that teams should shoot these a little bit earlier because if you get the rebound with 4 seconds, you can do something, but the other team really can't.
Screen roll. Nice inside position by Giannis. Goes in the lane. Stopped by the combination of Covington and Green. Still time for Westbrook. He'll pull from half court. No, he didn't. And it'll go into halftime without a shot. Giannis was bottled up by Covington and Green. It's really, they've done a great job on Giannis in the half court, and yet he still has 18 points.
Yeah, and I mean, I think for me, one of the stories that I think you put a lot of praise on the Rockets and a little bit of blame on the Bucks. I think their half court offense hasn't been particularly creative. Houston, they run a very different but also a very predictable defense, and in the half court, I don't think Milwaukee has done enough to create an advantage and then press it, which is interesting because that's what Houston does all the time. Like, and in some ways, that's what Houston's offense is predicated on. And not getting, Brook Lopez, okay, I have PJ Tucker on me. I'm just going to post him up. You could post anybody else up on the Rockets and you'd have a better chance, including Robert Covington. And there were some times with DiVincenzo, like give it to DiVincenzo, but he has a pretty capable defender on him. Like I think there's some optimization, which is funny because the Bucks optimize a lot of things, but I don't think the individual matchups have been something they've optimized so far. And the Rockets have competed really well.
Let's take a look at the shot charts before we get into some questions. Rockets, about what you would expect. They have taken 7 field goal attempts at the rim and 31 three-pointers against the Bucks.
Well, you say that, except that they've taken 9 2-point jump shots.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. I mean, they've had to step in a few times. But 10 of 31 from 3. I mean, Tucker has really had the look, so he's 0 for 6. He hasn't been able to contribute. What about from Milwaukee's standpoint?
They have gotten to the basket for 11 attempts, so that's four more than Houston, but not a free throw disparity. Houston actually has taken 16, and the Bucks have taken 13, and then both teams struggling overall from be from above the break. Milwaukee 3 of 10, Houston 6 of 19.
Well, the interesting thing to me is, 14 3-point attempts for the Bucks. That's not very many in a half. And then, 10 of 11, 11 shots at the rim. Yeah, I mean, when they get there, they're making them because Houston doesn't have great rim protection. But, I mean, that would basically be 22 shots for a game. It would basically be the lowest number of shots. That would tie for basically what the worst team in the NBA shoots in terms of number of shots at the rim per game. And,
Well,
yeah.
and if you want the top line, to me, the top line number of this first half, Houston attempted 49 shots, Milwaukee attempted 39 shots, and Houston has the free throw attempt advantage. So just they've gotten more up, even though they're shooting significantly worse from the field. Milwaukee's actually over 50% shooting from the field, but they still trail because they've gotten up so many fewer shots. Turnovers.
All right, if you want to take a couple questions, I'm going to grab some tea real quick, and I'll return momentarily.
For Charles McCurry, does anyone take the 2-for-1 with like 27 seconds as often as Russ? No, off the top of my head, he does that an absolute ton. He thinks he can get the 2-for-1. Steph Curry does it sometimes too, but Curry usually has a little bit better timing. So yeah, do that. From R. McIntyre, how do you see the Rockets matching up with the Lakers if they play Davis at the 4? Well, so if they play Davis at the 4, I mean, I think that means there are a lot of centers. So I think what Houston's going to be doing is they'll be trying to kind of get some pressure, get some extra hands off of whoever the big man is that's on the floor. Try to get it that way. Also try to space that guy out. But Houston, the personnel in terms of slowing down, let's say in a half court, slowing down LeBron James is a big problem for them because Robert Covington is a wonderful defensive player, but Robert Covington is not a individual one-on-one defender. He's more of a help guy, a team defender, and giving that assignment to James Harden, giving that to McLemore. I mean, the prayer would be that I guess that Eric Gordon is healthy, but Eric Gordon's not perfect for it either. So yeah, I think Houston offensively has some real advantages to play against the Lakers, but defensively, I think there'd be some trouble. Andrew Powers, you got to plug KCP on Harden to get cooked for 50 every game. Yeah, I think that's one of the most interesting parts of this is that both teams have trouble defending the other team's best player, but I think you put Danny Green there, and he has some experience over the years against Harden. He's not amazing at it, but I think he can do a decent enough job. And then you rely on the rim protection, I think would be a strength for them. Might even toy, one of the most interesting ideas would be doing something similar, but it'll sound different to what the Warriors did, which is try Anthony Davis on Harden with the idea being he's so long, he doesn't have to be as close. And so what KD does against his former teammate is just uses his length to slow down what Harden's trying to do. I think that could work really well. From RJ Garcia, do you think there will be more variance in these playoffs than usual or less because the lower seeds don't even have home court advantage? That's really tough. My instinct is that more so than home court advantage, I think what could end up making the difference is that the best players are going to be more rested overall. And I think that will be a bigger advantage. Health, of course, will be a big factor in here. But the lack of overall fatigue for Harden, the fact that he had, 4 months where he didn't have to play basketball, fly, and do all that kind of stuff. I think that is a bigger advantage for the best teams because the best teams have the best players. Do you think there's anything wrong with LeBron? No, not particularly. I mean, he has had some problems, getting some penetration, but remember, their most recent game was against the Raptors. The Raptors are monstrous defensively. The Clippers are too. The Lakers' next couple games, they play Utah, OKC, then the Rockets. If he's having trouble getting separation against those teams, Utah has rim protection. OKC does too. But if he's having trouble against them, then yeah, I'll start to worry. But early on, the parallel there is, when you play a good team early, people think the sky's falling. When you play a bad team early, people think you're doing super well. But it's when you when we get to see both sides of it, that's when I really start to kind of feel more comfortable evaluating somebody. Does Harden start the second half? Yes, absolutely. He starts the second half. You give him some time, and he can play without fouling, hopefully. And then later on, you go to it. I mean, Seth brought this up well. Nate's brought this up, which is that being overly cautious with your best players ensures the result that you're trying to avoid because you're missing that player for important minutes. Now, if especially like if you probably pull him earlier in the third than you would normally, but you have him started absolutely. Let's see. Why is it that Milwaukee is seen as this overwhelming favorite from most basketball analysts? I don't know that I've seen that necessarily at all. I mean, maybe some of the models are seeing it that way. I'm going to look up 538s. I mean, 538 gives the Bucks a 20% chance of winning the finals, and Milwaukee was one of the best regular season teams in NBA history, so it's more reasonable than some might think to do it. I mean, it might be one of those. I brought this up with Ben Golver. We were talking about the idea that hindsight, like narratives become codified in hindsight, and so like this happened with the 14-15 Warriors. It's like there was a lot of uncertainty that they were going to win it then, but also it's the specific anomaly of the Clippers being what they are and the Lakers with these unbelievable playoff performers that, and especially in the Clippers case, haven't done it as much in the regular season. So I disagree. I think that Milwaukee, their title odds are maybe even understated, especially considering unless Toronto really kicks it up, the East might be easier for them to make it through.
Yeah, and Philly not off to a great start as a potential threat to them. That's still the team that in theory was going to be the hardest for them to deal with.
Well, and it's actually even more dramatic than that because if Philly's pathway to getting the 5 seed is a little bit harder now that they lost to Indiana, and if Philly is on the same side of the bracket as Boston, Toronto, and then them obviously, then that means they'll have an easier path to the conference finals and only face one of those 3 teams.
I hope we get Boston Philly in the first round. That would be awesome.
It would be really, really fun.
Well,
Hot Takes Bowl 2020.
Yes. Well, if you would want to do some betting on that series when it comes about, bookies.com is the chance to do it. You could even do some betting on this game right now. The Rockets are 2.5-point favorites and -160 on the money line. The Bucks are plus 125, and the new over/under is 239. That's down a bit from 244. So interesting. It seems like they still expect that the Bucks offense is going to start to come around, but I don't see some great signs for that for Milwaukee. So bookies.com, you know them well. They are our sponsor here. They are supporting us and enabling us to bring you this cast, and so you can go there for free betting information, free betting advice from Mark Stratman, and also you can click through to the best legal betting deals in your area.
And also follow @Bookies on Twitter so you can get the latest sports betting odds and info. Also, they tell you when our live shows are going to be out, which we much appreciate. And sometimes they take the insight that we provide and turn it into content which you can get on Twitter. You can get it on the full site too, but Twitter is a great place to catch up on all that. So @Bookies.
Okay, some more questions here?
Yeah. Why is Mike Budenholzer such a good big picture coach, but seems to be lacking in the game-to-game or in-game adjustments? They don't seem to be wildly different. No, I think they are really different because it's. I always get the terminology wrong, but it's tactics versus strategy. Nate, I mean, you're more into like history and all that kind of stuff than I am. Of which one is which? Is that like he's great at creating a scheme and using talent and getting everybody to buy in, but circumstances change on the ground really rapidly in the playoffs, and so you have to rely more on your instincts, which aren't the same as your planning.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And versatility is required. Versatility of the roster is required. I mean, there's a number of components to coaching. I mean, there's the emotional component, obviously, but then there's also, just teaching individual techniques. A lot of that is player development, and a lot of that is helping guys, just improve their individual skills, but also stuff like, here's how you get through a screen. Here, generally, this is where we want to be in help defense. And so that starts to build into just your general overall philosophy of, okay, when the ball's here, you're going to be here. Here's where the help's going to come from. When they do this, here's how we're going to react. You build up a system overall that people can function in. And Bud is maybe the best in the NBA at that aspect. But then, these specific adjustments. Now, I think I've said this a number of times. I don't necessarily put it on him that they lost in that series last year. I think he did try some stuff. I thought he might have even been a little bit over aggressive in trying some stuff, particularly with that crazy defense where they're forcing Kawhi Leonard away from his right hand. And also, like, they even did some switching with Brook Lopez down the end. of that Game 5, and so I think he did actually try a little bit more than he got credit for. Certainly going back to his days with the Hawks, though, he was a little more rigid, particularly that 2016 series against Cleveland where they're trapping the ball and just giving up a billion threes every game.
Somebody asked what jersey you're wearing.
The Sabonis Soviet jersey. Sorry.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, that one is awesome. You got to break out the Illawarra Hawks jersey at some point, though, Danny. The LaMelo.
I will. Yeah. For Mar McIntyre, what would be your preferred closing lineup as the Bucks in the playoffs? It is a little bit situation dependent, but probably Giannis and Marvin Williams at the 4 and the 5, then Middleton, Bledsoe, and whatever guard is playing best or least bad at that moment.
I would disagree. I would put Brook Lopez in there, certainly against any team in the Eastern Conference.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Except maybe Boston if they're like really going well. And then, definitely if they go up against the Lakers too, I probably would have Lopez. But if it's the Clippers, you might need more mobility with Williams. How much substance do you put into the Shake and Embiid confrontation? Do you think they have serious locker room problems? I never know what to think of any of this stuff, unless it's something like a situation I'm a little closer to, like the Warriors, Kevin Durant, Draymond situation. I just don't really know enough to say at this point. I mean, maybe I can expand that a little bit. I mean, when you saw how not ready to play Philly was yesterday, and I hate using that term, but if you watch that first quarter, you really can't reach any other conclusion with just the like egregious mental mistakes that they're making. Embiid like getting out into the media, like he likes to talk a lot of shit. Like I'm not sure how close he is to some of his teammates, and so if he's your leader, like is he really? It's you don't see like LeBron James. Nobody, he could say anything to anyone on the team, and nobody's gonna like talk shit to him. But he's probably also not going to say, I'm going to slap you or whatever it was that Rob Lopez thought that it was. So, I don't know what to make of it. I mean, I do think Embiid is a little bit different as like your best player kind of leader. He hasn't stayed in like the most amazing shape. I don't know if he's the hardest worker of anyone on the team. You always want your best player to be that. So maybe there is a little fire there for that smoke. But I generally try to avoid overestimating how much those things could mean.
Patrick Boyes asked, which pair on your All-NBA ballot would make the worst duo? I will pull up my All-NBA ballot.
It's got to just be like two centers, right?
Yeah, probably. That was my first. So, Jokic, I'm trying to remember who my third string center was. It's been so long. I have so many position rankings before my last awards column. There we go. February awards. This is making great radio. If you can think of a combination, just let me know.
Yeah, I mean, Jokic has some pretty good versatility. Was Rudy Gobert on there? Like, it'd probably be like...
Yeah, Gobert was my third team.
Gobert and Embiid or something.
Yeah, Gobert and... Yeah, that would be pretty rough.
Or I think I actually had Trae Young on my ballot. So maybe it might be like Trae Young and some other really bad defending guard.
I didn't have any other bad defending guards.
Both ball dominant. Yeah.
Jimmy Butler and Trae would be an interesting combination just because Jimmy would have less to do. But I think defensively it would be.
All right, we got basketball here. Giannis and Westbrook. They tried to run a play for Covington to come off the top. That was taken away. Now Westbrook is just going to attack. Gets it to the corner. Tucker, can he make one finally? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he probably spent the entire halftime just standing in the corner shooting shots, and finally he makes one on Lopez. Great pass by Westbrook. He had a lot of speed on that pass, which enabled him to get the shot off. DiVincenzo tries to drive past Covington, sets up Lopez's corner three. Nice drive by DiVincenzo. Tries to get his offensive glass. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, we were going to go the other way. I didn't see a foul there. I thought it was actually... Yeah, I thought that was a good steal by DiVincenzo.
Yeah, I thought DiVincenzo kind of kept his hands to himself and got the ball kind of partially through Covington, but I think that was a no call, not even not a foul on Covington either.
Yeah, I mean it could have actually been after the steal the foul was on Covington. Here's Harden off of two screens. Wes Matthews shuts him down. Covington's three is short. Westbrook went for the offensive glass, but great job sprinting back to take that away. Giannis, they load to him with House. And no advantage gain. Nice transition defense by Houston. Here's Matthews off the screen. Short. Lopez rebounds. He's got Giannis on the cut. Now he's just going to go right through Robert Covington and hooks it in over him. See how easy it is?
Wait, he's allowed to post up Robert Covington?
Yeah, he can post up somebody other than PJ Tucker. You imagine that? Westbrook hits the cotton shot, as he liked to call it. Does not find the cotton as often these days as it did in his OKC days. Giannis, backdoor. Oh, what a play by Tucker, but he's going to get called for a foul and did not agree with the call. He did a great job. He's guarding Brook Lopez in the opposite corner, and he comes over to break up that alley-oop. It's probably going to be a little higher pass. Again, they've thrown a couple of these passes too low.
Russell Westbrook's shot chart so far. 1 for 2 around the basket, 3 for 7 on mid-rangers, and 1 for 1 on threes.
They lob it in. Oh, Harden with the steal. Man, these Bucks passes into the post have been poor. Now Westbrook has Lopez. He wants it. Instead, Covington takes the three. Westbrook was disappointed that he did not get it against Lopez in transition. DiVincenzo, deep three. Oh, yeah. Shooting starting to pick up here.
Right in rhythm there for DiVincenzo. That's the type of shot I really like him taking.
Looking weak side for House. Now Harden on the drive. Sets up Tucker. They help off the strong side corner. And PJ Tucker, 2 for 2 on three-pointers now in this third quarter. And Houston pulling away with a 11-point lead. Good pressure from Houston. Again, just preventing those easy passes. Let the Bucks run their offense. Giannis going right through Covington, and Covington cannot guard him. Covington much better as a help defender. Back to goal from Westbrook. Blows past DiVincenzo, but blew the layup. Now DiVincenzo feeling it after the pull-up, and that squirts out. Yeah, DiVincenzo, he takes a lot of shots, but he's been in the low 30s so far for his career from three. Harden, Westbrook, quick hesitation, does not get it.
And, I mean, now we're 3 minutes in, not a lot of stoppages, so the Bucks didn't push that in transition.
Yeah, everyone's looking exhausted, and they will get a timeout.
Yeah. Question from Andrew Powers. Did your awards change at all since the pod we did 4 months ago? No, not really. I mean, I have it that we did that on 3/12, and the day the basketball stopped was like 3/14. Is that right?
We did it on 3/6, and it stopped on 3/11. So I only know this because I actually reposted that in Dunked On.
Oh, that's right.
This week. So yeah, I didn't think an extra 5 days of action was going to change my awards at all.
See. What was the process in starting Dunked On? Love your stuff. Listen to work every day. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much. So we've told the full story actually a couple of times on Real GM Radio. The best version I think of it was actually on the first anniversary we did a pod. That was eons ago now. But basically, Nate had a commute, which I did not have at the time. And he was listening to, he wanted a daily basketball podcast. And I actually, we had a conversation about it in January, and I moved to Washington, D.C. that, like, basically the day we had the conversation. So I'm like, well, maybe if I get back, I thought it was a really good idea. I thought he'd do it well. And then I came back, and he hadn't started it yet. And he's like, hey, do you want to try it? And so that was April of 2015. And I was going to be one of the people who was involved, and that's why it's Dunked On, is that it was going to be Nate and then other people. But eventually we realized not too many people were available from midnight to 2 a.m. most days, and it became the two of us every time.
Yeah, it's a pretty good summary. Let's hit one more here before things restart.
Are you worried about Covington one-on-one defense in the playoffs after how badly he played in 2018? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, that I don't have Houston beating any of the teams that I think he would be that he would have a real problem with, and that's not a coincidence. But I mean, it's still, they have some options compared to a lot of the other teams in the West. There are a lot of great they're not great, but there are a lot of capable wing defenders on the East, non-elite teams. I mean, depending on how we see Toronto, but the West, there just aren't really that many guys, at least off the top of my head. I'm not thinking about like, there are a ton of other people who can stop those guys.
My strategy against Houston would be go at Covington with either LeBron or Kawhi every time until they prove that they can stop it. Because number one, he's too frail. We saw him struggle in the 2018 playoffs, as was mentioned. And then also, he's their best help guy. And so you put him on the ball, and now not only is he their worst one-on-one guy, but you take away their best help guy.
Yeah, and potentially you could get him in foul trouble, and their bench options are rough.
All right, we're back here. DiVincenzo gets Giannis at the elbow. They try to bring Matthews off a weak side screen. On the move, his three is off. Not really a great shot there, but Middleton controls. We haven't heard Chris Middleton's name in a while. He just got fouled underneath, but they haven't really has he even gotten a touch in this half yet?
Maybe one in kind of an opportunity, but yeah, not very much. Middleton, 7 of 9 from the field overall so far in this game. That's amazing for somebody to be that efficient and have that few shots when he's like a key part of the offense. It's not like he's PJ Tucker out there.
Giannis, one-on-one against Tucker, into the post. Lopez against Harden. This will be interesting. Double comes from House. Lopez steps through beautifully. And Harden.
And I would,
yeah, go ahead.
I would go to that more aggressively. Harden has 4 fouls.
I think so. And Harden, to me, has not been his usual stout post defense today. In part due to the fouling you mentioned. Good pressure from Lopez, and I think they're going to get him with a little bit of a bump here.
Yeah, I didn't see much there.
Matthews trying to force Harden to the baseline. He gives it up. Covington on the cut. Giannis rejects him. Now it's Middleton in transition. 4-on-3. Oh, good job by the Rockets getting back there. DiVincenzo bumbling it. Now gets it to Lopez and back to Giannis. They'll reset. Here's DiVincenzo's 3. That's off again. Lopez beasting on the offensive glass, and he lays it in.
Echoes of his early days on the Nets, on the New Jersey Nets.
Westbrook goes for another pull-up off the glass. Didn't quite have the angle there. He had another couple steps closer to the baseline. He could have banked it in more easily. They're going to Lopez again now, but this time it's Tucker on him. Tucker, you cannot move PJ Tucker, and he's also taken Lopez away from that left shoulder. I mean, just stop doing that. You just scored on James Harden. Tucker on the drive, really uncomfortable handling the ball, as you can see. Covington, not uncomfortable shooting the ball, but misses.
Yeah, and Houston, they're not exactly putting a ton of resistance on these switches. Just do a little bit of action to get it.
Yeah, like that transition attack from Middleton, but Westbrook gets the strip.
And I know Harden has great hands, but we could potentially see him, like, he does a lot of digging. If he gets a 5th foul in that fashion, it'd be a big problem for Houston.
5-point game as Milwaukee has restored order here with a 6-0 run, and they maintain possession of 16 on the shot clock. Jeff Green has come on here. Tucker replaced. Here's a 3 from Marvin Williams, who just came on. Bucks missing these above the break threes now. Harden looking to push it in transition. Bucks did not get back very well, but good job by Marvin Williams getting to the corner until he fouled Covington, so never mind.
Yeah, and these are some important non-Giannis minutes out there to see if Milwaukee can generate reliable offense.
PJ Tucker does have 3 fouls. Recall that Harden has 4. House has 3 for Houston. Westbrook guarded by Williams. Crosses over. Double teamed. Has Jeff Green. They'll let him shoot that. And Brook Lopez, he doesn't get enough credit for how much ground he covers. He actually, it wasn't a great contest, but he was stopping Russell Westbrook, and he got out to at least show a little bit of his body in Jeff Green's vision on that shot.
On Covington.
Yeah, they better double team here, and they're going to get the reach in as Lopez went through his arms. I definitely think that double teaming is something they should do more against Lopez. He's not known for his passing. Yeah, there is that dig down you talked about. Ooh, tough call on Covington there. Maybe he gets him with the arms forward.
He did get him. They showed it on the replay. He got him enough. I would have called it.
Oh yeah, he got his arm. He reached in. You're right. Brook Lopez, excellent foul shooter for a big man. Brook Lopez, year and pick, Danny.
Oh no. Oh, I should be able to get the year. It was the year after I graduated college. So it was '08 draft, and I think he was number 7.
I believe he was number 9. We'll have to check that. Here's Green handing off to Harden. Harden in the mid-range did not challenge Lopez. Instead, it's Green in the corner. Gets to his right hand, which he loves. McLemore deep in the corner. Hit the backboard as a result.
I was closer. He was the 10th pick.
Here is Middleton in the corner. Oh, what a move on Covington. I mean, we're seeing it. Robert Covington is not a good one-on-one defender against anybody who's got any kind of strength. Milwaukee back within 2. Houston sputtering offensively. Harden's going to try and get going here. Matthews. They help off the strong side corner again, and it's Jeff Green hitting it. Wes Matthews forced Harden to drive, and they just put 3 guys on. They're going to give up that corner 3, and Houston has hit 3 of them now in this quarter. Double screen for Hill. No advantage gained there. Rescreen into the lane. Tried to lay it up, and they're going to get a foul here. I think it's McLemore who at least attempted to take credit for it. Go ahead, sorry.
I mean, I know it's the scheme, but at a certain point, there was one earlier where Lopez conceded the 3 and Giannis was the lead defender on it. I think that he could be a little bit closer and maybe do some of that Harden-esque swiping or blocking from behind as opposed to conceding that much ground. It's almost impossible for him to get a closeout there.
Yeah, I mean, my guess, because Marvin Williams was already there now, and you generally don't help off the strong side corner. But I think the idea is, in particular, they told Brook Lopez, if you're guarding Jeff Green or PJ Tucker, we're going to make those guys hit some shots, and we'll see whether they do. Those guys, the Rockets centers, have 3 corner 3-pointers in. It's basically the sum total of Houston scoring just about it in this half. Harden tries to draw the foul. They're going to give it to him, and he counts it. James Harden on the move, and I didn't see a lot of contact there. Maybe we'll see more on a replay, but I actually really would like to see much more of that type of action from Harden. Not known for a ton of off-ball movement, and yet Matthews did have his hand in there. Now, I would again posit that if he's got his hand in there before he decides to shoot it, that's not a shooting foul, but yeah, he's got his hand on him already before he decides to shoot. That should not be a shooting foul.
He pulls his right hand back, but Matthews' left hand is in the cookie jar, basically.
Yeah, he knew. There's a reason he knew to shoot it, and he would never shoot that normally. Covington getting into the passing lane, much better as a passing lane defender, as we know. But I mean, the Bucks got the same bad call earlier, so I mean, the reaction which with Harden goes into the shot when he feels the contact. I mean, it's incredibly fast. Here's Middleton. Beautiful crossover on Covington, but Matthews had to go deep into the corner to recover, and then he traveled.
Oh, no, that's not the Mikal Pietrus because he stayed in bounds.
I didn't really see a travel there, honestly. I thought he had his left pivot foot pretty good. Green, they're looking to bring Harden out of the corner again. Same set. Matthews trailing. Find Green in the corner. Can he get another 3? No, not that time. Middleton on the push against McLemore. Gets him in the air. And another one. That's going to count. But I thought McLemore really had already landed. But, I mean, that's the rule, right? We talked about it on the last cast. If your defender is in the air jumping towards you, you can jump into him as much as you want and still get the call. It's only when you jump sideways that it's going to be an offensive foul. I mean,
And he did.
that one should not have been called to me.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that Macklemore had basically stopped his jump by that point, and so you just
Yeah.
make it a no
I
call.
mean, maybe you can argue that like McLemore's left elbow got into his shooting motion. Oh, we're seeing some DJ Wilson here. So this is Marvin Williams, I guess, at the 3. There's Jeff Green. He's got another corner 3. All he can eat, and he can't eat that much. So 1 for 3 on those corner 3s now for Jeff Green.
Brook Lopez posting up Robert Covington, see if they can get him the ball.
Yeah, this has got to be a double team here for sure. Harden comes over from the weak side, and they're going to get another foul.
I think that's going to be on Harden.
Oh, man, that could be 5. Ooh, yeah, I think it looks like a foul on Harden to me, unless they're going to bail him out. He definitely moved his chest into Lopez, and Lopez has done well to draw contact a few times in the post. That would be a bummer if this is 5 on Harden. I'm really enjoying this game so far.
I think they didn't give it to him. I think they gave it to. They gave it to
Mike Budenholzer is doing that same thing. He's like, "Hey, Harden is sticking his torso forward into it. It should have been a foul on him." But I'm not going to complain. Even if it's the wrong call, I'd rather still see Harden out there.
I'm a zealot. I'd rather see the call correct. Entertainment be damned. But speaking of entertainment, if you want to hear more of us calling games the next few days, we're mostly going to be doing that through the NBA's League Pass app. It's insanely exciting. For those of you who want to hear us call a game and see the game in the same window, you'll have that opportunity. Nate has tweeted out the schedule, and it will start with Spurs Sixers on Monday.
Yeah, I can't wait. Thank you so much to all you who tweeted about it, who watched that first game, Orlando Brooklyn. I realize it's a commitment to watch Orlando Brooklyn at 2:30 Eastern, but for those of you who did and who had positive things to say about it, the NBA asked us to do 3 more basically right after that, so it really did make a difference, and we appreciate it, and hopefully it'll be something that continues here.
And we have some juicy ones. I mean, Suns Pacers in particular I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I am too. I really like the Suns. Here's the 3 from Green. Man, I mean, this is just like the same thing every time. And they're
They
Green
could just skip the rest of the play and just have him shoot off a rack.
Yeah. Lopez trying to draw the foul on Green. Does not. Marvin Williams skies for that. That sets up the 3 from Matthews, who has not had the touch today. But the tip goes.
Again, Marvin Williams.
Yeah, Marvin Williams getting off the ground at 34. And Matthews called for yet another reach-in.
And I don't know if you heard me. I think that was when you were out. I posited the idea, kind of paralleling Kevin Durant and Ethan's old idea, that if the Lakers play the Rockets, I would consider having Anthony Davis on Harden and just have him lay back.
Well, but wouldn't he just shoot a 3-pointer?
Yeah, maybe. But I know with the idea that like KD, where he can still contest, not lay back like a drop coverage, but
I see. Yeah.
Harden can't get into his body.
Okay, gotcha. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. No, drop coverage against Harden is a problem. Exciting to see DJ Wilson get a little bit of minutes. I mean, he had become just such a small part of the rotation after being pretty encouraging last year.
All right, we got to get a little cat action here on the NBA cast. I don't think she's going to stick around too long though. Yeah, it's been an itinerant career for Jeff Green, as they're showing on the screen.
They should include the terms of all of the trades, because that's the other kind of amazing thing with Jeff Green.
Korver off the screen trying to post up Giannis. Tucker did well to front him and take that away. Rockets really have blown up the primary action many a time here against the Bucks. Good job again. Harden coming over. Now it's one-on-one. Giannis is going to have to go to a fadeaway here into the lane. Tip again from Giannis. They wanted in the cylinder, but how about you go rebound instead of motioning that he was in the cylinder? DJ Wilson guarding Russell Westbrook. Crossover. Help comes from Williams. Tucker. And no, they say Russell Westbrook stepped on the baseline.
And PJ Tucker, that 3 went in. That would have made him 3 for 9. Instead, he's 2 for 8.
Yeah, Giannis playing a little volleyball here. Bucks creeping back. They've done it on the defensive end this quarter. Hill looking for Giannis at the foul line. Tucker one-on-one against him. This is where you'd love Giannis to have that jumper. Instead, he drives, and Tucker picks up the foul, and it drops. A lot of and-ones in this quarter, but that's Giannis. I like him really at that area, and I like them giving him the ball in a triple threat. He's not even going to take that, but he covers so much ground on that triple threat that with his first step, he could just blow by guys, even if they, and you can't back off of him because if he gets ahead of steam, then he could just Euro step around you. So I like this. We haven't seen as much of him getting the ball there with a live dribble, and then he could just take one dribble to get to the rim.
Well, and the other thing is Giannis doesn't have to create as much of an advantage as most people because he has that insane reach too. So he can basically be even and win. And so it's different than like Trae Young or somebody else where you have to really get a little bit of space. Why are blackout rules still in effect? I think it's because they still want people to watch on their local stations, and blackouts aren't like I guess that's not true. Blackout rules are more about getting people to go in person. I'm not sure. Maybe that's just the way the contracts
blackout rules are about just making people watch on their local TV. Like they don't want people or watching on like the local TV app. I mean those local TV companies are paying millions of dollars for those rights, so they would not like it if there was some way that you could not watch their telecast. They want you to watch their telecast and watch their ads, which makes sense. I mean, they're paying a ton of money. You know, I think, yeah.
I enjoyed the YouTube comments celebrating James Harden's off-ball movement. I agree with you. I was going to talk about it more at the time. That has been one of my biggest criticisms of Harden, as great as he is offensively, is that he often shows a lack of activity and aggression off-ball, which would be a real weapon considering how well he draws fouls.
Well, and every once in a while he can be like a pretty sneaky cutter, but obviously that's not a huge part of his game.
Yeah. How can the Rockets improve this offseason? Can they meaningfully improve their bench? It will be very difficult, especially if Tillman Fertitta does not want to pay the luxury tax or does not want to pay much of the luxury tax. They have a lot of guys on significant contracts. Remember, they gave an extension to Eric Gordon. So I think that what it'll be is Morey will do his best to throw a lot of options out there and hopefully one or two of them stick. But the other thing is, remember how fortunate they've gotten to have Austin Rivers come back on very team-friendly contracts. If he gets either a different offer from somebody or just wants a change of scenery, that'll be another capable player that they could theoretically lose.
So, Danny, should we look up what the NBA record for three-point attempts in a regulation game is?
I can look it up.
Because the Rockets have taken 44.
Wow.
And it's going to be very close, I think, to get it. And, I mean, they were what? They'd taken 7 shots in the restricted area. They've only taken 2 in this quarter. The Bucks have doubled down on not letting them get to the rim. And so, I mean, and this is what the Bucks are all about, right? Like, you see those open corner threes from Jeff Green or PJ Tucker, and you're like, hey, like, you know, they can't just give up open corner threes. And then you look down, and they're like, oh, yeah, you can't score either if you're not getting shots at the rim. And also if you're not fouling as well, which if you're not getting shots at the rim, you're much less likely to foul. So even with all these three-pointers, all these open three-pointers, if you give up literally nothing else, which is pretty close to what it's been for the Bucks here, as they've also have at least avoided turning it over so much too here in the second, the math starts to work out in your favor. Giannis hits that, and the Bucks have their first lead in some time. Harden will cool it on the bench. They've got DJ Wilson guarding Russell Westbrook. He wants to get at Wilson off the live dribble. Tried to draw the foul, but did not have position. And this is going to be a dunk here. Oh, no. I spoke too soon. Good hustle by Rivers. And Giannis will take 2 more free throws. That's we'll see. Giannis is not a great bet to hit 2 free throws, so he might have saved him a point there.
I'm not used to the new basketball reference. I'm having trouble finding the stat that I'm looking for.
Yeah, so we noted that late in the first half, the Bucks had 14 turnovers. They're now on 16, and that's been huge for them because we also said how Houston in the first half had that 167 offensive rating in transition. They added about 10 points with their transition, and so Houston has not been able to do that in this quarter. That's been a big part of the Bucks being able to surge back here.
Oh, so it looks like it might be the Rockets with 70 against the Nets.
Yeah, another team that really like tries to protect the rim a lot. Yeah, so we're not going to get there unless it's overtime, but you get pretty close.
I mean, each possession basically.
45 of their 67 shots have been threes. House against Korver, who they've targeted, goes to the step back. Oh, and he hit it over Kyle Korver. Wow. Tithing it at 84. House is really, he deserves so much credit for making himself into this reliable of a shooter, because that was always the knock on his game. And you'll recall last year he washed out of Warriors camp and then just found his shot with the Rockets. They've really empowered him. 5 on the clock. Wilson with the late screen. Good defense by Rivers. Tough fader by Hill. Isn't close. Williams went down, kept it alive, but we're going to get a shot clock violation. Hopefully he's okay there. He fell
it seemed like
awkwardly.
He washed out a little bit.
Ooh, yeah. Hopefully he's all right. I hope that it is not anything related to his groin, which is his first game back from that. Rivers stopped on his drive, and Houston will reset.
And so again, the last time these minutes went pretty well, but these are no Harden but Westbrook on the 4 minutes, and guarded by DJ Wilson.
Westbrook goes for the pull-up from the right side, not his preferred spot, but I mean that's a shot that really Houston's going to need to make. They're not getting to the rim. There's nobody else out there who's going to create a shot really other than maybe Rivers. Houston trying to get the matchup set. Giannis just takes the three. Tucker was kind of looking behind him, and Giannis just hit it. Now Westbrook going at Wilson again. They help off the corner. They get another three. Jeff Green cashes in. He's now 3 of 6 on corner three-pointers just in this quarter.
Wow.
And Tucker is a further 2 of 2. Wilson finds Korver. Korver just was off balance as he came off it. Wilson will take the three, though. Maybe not the shot that they wanted there. Westbrook has Wilson. Crosses over. Corner three, House this time. That time it misses. I mean, it's just, these are probably the 2 most extreme teams in the NBA, and some, as they're going to get a timeout here. The 2 most extreme teams in the NBA in terms of some of their habits and what they try to do offensively and then force other teams to do, and you're seeing it where it's just, okay, drive in and throw it to the corner every time. And
I don't think I can get a single quarter shot chart at this point, but I would be fascinated in what the Rocket shot chart is.
Well, let me. I got something for you. You want to guess how many corner threes Houston has taken in this game?
I actually just looked it up. I'm on the screen. It's 21
in 3 quarters.
In 3 quarters. But what I'm looking up, okay, so let's do a little bit of math.
Let me give you a little context for that stat first. The team that gives up the most corner 3-pointers per game in the NBA usually is 10 per game. And Houston has 21 attempts from corner threes. And by the way, they are 10 out of 21 on such shots. That is completely insane that they're getting this many corner threes. And the Bucks try to give up more above the break. I mean, really interested to see how this works out for them there, because they're shooting a good percentage on those. But yeah, you're gonna do a little quick math on that.
I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, so the Rockets have taken 22 shots in this quarter, and they've taken, and they've taken 17 threes. So they've only taken 5 2-point shots in this entire quarter.
That's insane. All right, Bucks going to try and get a 2-for-1 here out of the timeout. Hill, they want Korver in the corner. Nice quick play. Kyle Korver, that was a great timeout from Bud to set up the 2-for-1. Now Westbrook trying to get a 2-for-1 on his own. House, nice closeout that time by Hill. Didn't give up the corner 3 that time. Westbrook, 2-for-1 time has passed. He'll take the deep 3 anyway. He was feeling the jump shot, but that is off. And Giannis did not need to jump for the rebound, and he'll control for the last shot of the quarter. Interesting to see. I think they're going to have Corver come screen for him. No, it's going to be Williams slipping it. No real advantage gain there. Giannis putting Tucker in the mix. Tough fader along the baseline is way off, and good defense by P.J. Tucker. So, everything that we've wanted here, 90 to 89. Bucks get back into it. And Ben, he is on it. Director of Basketball Research, 6 of 10 on corner threes in the third quarter alone for the Houston Rockets. And
so just under half of their shots were corner threes. Incredible.
Yeah, and they scored 18 of their 27 third quarter points on corner three-pointers. I've never, ever seen anything like that before.
I was going to say we should take some questions, but instead I think we should tell everybody about bookies.com. If you are over 21, go to bookies.com/NBA for the latest live odds, expert picks, and the best online sign-up deals. And really what we like about it is that it's information.
Free information, Danny.
Free information. I mean, I think that the live odds are a really valuable thing, whether you're looking for spreads or money lines, totals, parlays. You can get all of that on a single page that updates. And particularly in the bubble games, these things can move pretty quickly. And so being able to find out if there's an advantage that you can get, maybe there's something you're thinking, but the line is better one place than another, being able to get that at a single place is a wonderful resource. You and I talk about the value of time all the time.
All right, you said it, Danny. Let's hit some questions.
Do you think the Bucks are taking their strategy too far right now against Houston? My answer would be yes.
We'll see. I mean, they outscored it by 9 points in that quarter.
Oh, we got an answer from Zam's pod. In regulation, the most three-point attempts is 61. So they're
yes.
48 now. So there's a chance of that.
Well, I'll tell you what. If it keeps going like this, they're going to beat that. I would say that when Harden is in the game and Westbrook are both in the game, that giving up the corner three makes a little more sense. Like this unit with just Westbrook, like you could play a more conventional defense to me, and you can still like this isn't some great offensive unit where like why give up an open corner three? I think you can avoid really giving up anything.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But with Harden, I mean, that's hey, this is turning into a math problem. Let's see what happens.
See if we have any other good ones.
Daryl Morey, he must have done like math Olympics or something in high school. He's got to be loving this.
How competitive do you think the Rockets will be looking forward to the next few years? So I brought up that I think the Lakers, that they'll be less competitive as their guys age. I think that's more of a problem with the Rockets because, well, Harden and Westbrook, they might not be at the harsh end of the age curve. Any drop-off for those type of guys is going to be a real challenge because their team is so expensive. It's going to be hard for them to improve on the margins to add other things. So I kind of think the expected value, which is far from a guarantee, each year is going to be worse than the previous year. Maybe not dramatically so, but I think a material amount.
What's next here? What's the league average percentage from the corners? I think it's like 38, 39%. It's not quite 40, but like pretty close to 40. Although, to be clear, the reason for that apparently is more that those shots are open than that it's closer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're back.
We are indeed. They tried to get Lopez posting up and said Hill just took the three, and Rivers looked like he messed up his elbow a little bit. That's why Hill was able to get open. But Rivers appears to be in decent straits.
And after making 48% of threes in the pre-hiatus season, Hill getting back on it.
Westbrook driving baseline, shut down by Wilson. The three from House is good. Daniel House as the teams exchange three-pointers in the first two possessions of the fourth. Corver looping around. They want to get Giannis in the post against Jeff Green. Let's see where the help's going to come from here. Looks like it's going to be Tucker on the baseline. Watch him. Oh, he came too late, and they get dunked on. Yeah, usually P.J. Tucker is going to come much sooner than that, but he's got to be ready immediately. As soon as Giannis made that spin move, it was clear he was going in. Now Westbrook against Wilson again. Pulls up over him, a little short. Wilson, good job on the defensive glass. Wilson actually a poor defensive rebounder. Good to see him that attuned to it. He's played hard in his time here. Giannis.
So this is Giannis at the 3.
Yeah, and Giannis missing the 3. Rivers stepping back on George Hill. Maybe not the shot they wanted. Westbrook on the offensive glass. And I mentioned Wilson's foibles. He just totally blew the box out on Westbrook, who went right through him.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing 3 guys that you could argue are bigs at the same time, catch a body.
Here is Lopez on the fader over Green. I thought he could have done a little better there. Yeah, I mean, this is a ton of size out there right now for the Bucks. Green, his 3 from the wing, squirts out. Now 3 of 7.
That's a foul on Westbrook.
Yep. Yeah, not a good foul, Danny. I'm sure you will be reminding us of that when Houston inevitably puts the Bucks into the bonus later.
Yeah, I almost definitely will. And it looks like Harden's coming back on the floor. Can Milwaukee, do they take a concerted effort to try to get him a 5th at some point to make D'Antoni think about it? I think D'Antoni will keep Harden in the game until he fouls out, unless and until that happens. But, I mean, I think you try it for a couple possessions.
Yeah, Harden has the matchup on Lopez now. They switch this as Harden. He's gotten a lot of steals. DiVincenzo fighting for it. Now it's a 4-on-1. They get it to Westbrook. Quick handle, and he's going to go to the foul line. Korver with a good foul, though, right there. He was certainly looking for the chance to foul in that situation. A 4-on-1, why not?
Yeah, I mean, the downside is that you could potentially get the Rockets in the bonus sooner, but fouling, especially an inconsistent foul shooter instead of 2 easy points, yeah, absolutely take that. Especially for a guy who getting in foul trouble doesn't matter. And there we go.
Yep, good foul by Korver. Of course, his foul situation not a concern with the number of minutes he's going to play.
Yeah, speaking of that, though, Harden, Tucker, Covington all have 4. And then for Milwaukee, nobody has more than 3. Then the 3 are Matthews and DiVincenzo.
By the way, that was another atrocious pass from DiVincenzo that led to that turnover. Harden was just standing there. Giannis getting a little more of a break. Middleton really has gotten a little good denial by Harden, at least initially. Now they get the switch, try to get the pass to the corner. Nice look to Matthews. Oh, 2 bucks on the offensive glass, and Lopez brings it home.
And that is the 12th offensive rebound for Milwaukee in this game.
Yeah, usually not a team that concentrates on the offensive glass, but with Lopez inside the paint more, he's been able to make his presence felt. Here's Westbrook, quick cut, rejected by Lopez. 6 on the clock. Covington, not a comfortable dribbler. Harden creates, puts Matthews to the floor. 3 from Covington, short. Excellent box out by Brook Lopez, and they're going to grab Westbrook for another dumb foul. That's his 2nd of those. And Houston rapidly making progress to the all-important bonus.
Yeah, and early on, Milwaukee wasn't putting a ton on the offensive glass, but you brought it up. I think it might be Lopez just being in a different place, and also Giannis playing volleyball in a couple of possessions. That's cranked it up a little bit.
Yeah, Ben confirming for us that it is 39% from the left corner this year, actually almost 40%, 39.8%. And then the right corner is a little bit under 38%. DiVincenzo, cheeky cut, and Lopez with the pass. Harden just completely, or no, I'm sorry, it was House who needed to get there, but he was guarding Korver. He was in a tough situation. Harden really has not had the step back going against Matthews. They run Tucker off the line, right back to Harden. Gets into the mid-range, not looking to shoot it over Lopez. Late clock again. Harden is going to have to create this one. Covington, his 3. Yes. Robert Covington.
It was interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was interesting to see Harden earlier in that possession. Just he had an open 3, just not take it.
Yeah, now it's Middleton getting 2 screens up top. He'll pull up over Harden. Couldn't come back on him. Houston a chance to take the lead. Matthews trying to keep him off the step back. Harden will drive. PJ Tucker, his three is there. Misses. I mean, you see generally why you don't help off the strong side corner because it's just so easy to set those up. Middleton tried to push it. DiVincenzo attacking Covington. Wild layup goes awry. The pace fast and furious, and DiVincenzo did well to get back and intercept. And I think we're going to see guys take a little bit of time here. These guys are looking pretty tired after this. Giannis is headed to the scorer's table. Lopez on the roll. Easy dunk as Harden did not get over there as the low man.
And Brook Lopez has taken 11 2-point shots and 2 3-point shots in this game.
Yeah, in Houston, a rare miscommunication for them. Both guys went to Middleton. They did not switch that. Korver pressuring Harden, gets the steal. And, oh, yeah, we're going to go to Milwaukee. Great save by Wes Matthews as Korver, again, executing his responsibilities. They've tried to target Korver in pick and roll a few times and have failed to do so. Great defense.
And, I mean, they're not going to call it, but I always don't like it when a player puts hands on a guy who's in the air, and Harden did it there, but not in a way that was dangerous. I just wish that the league could punish that a little bit more. Maybe not with a foul or something.
Can we get some love for Harden's defense tonight? I mean, he's made he's gotten his usual steals. He's made a few decent plays, had a few decent efforts, but I think he's been below average for him in his individual defense tonight, particularly in the post, partially due to foul trouble.
And also partially just there were some give up plays and all that. Okay, let's see.
What is the point of DJ Wilson sagging so much if they're still going to help so much?
That's a good point. I think it's just really selling out to protect the basket. I think that's the idea.
Yeah, I mean, I would be interested to see if Russell Westbrook going one-on-one against DJ Wilson is, can he score on him, who's a bigger guy? I might want to actually see if that's true before I sent that much help, but I think that he's a young player. They're worried about giving up fouls. I mean, part of why their system works so much isn't only avoiding shots at the rim, but it's also about you have so many guys there, it's much easier to avoid fouling.
Oh, that's a good one from Dogman. If Nick Nurse is your coach of the year, who is second? It is a regular season award, and he's also a wonderful coach. I had Mike Budenholzer there. I thought that he did a great job with the Bucks this year. And there are a lot of great candidates. I mean, you and I, back when we did that pod in March, we talked about how many you could make an argument for in the top three, even though you and I each picked Nick Nurse. And so I went with Budenholzer as my number 2.
Yeah, you and I had the same top 2. What does my hat say? It says Galit, which is the restaurant that my sister is the beverage manager at in Chicago. They are actually open. They opened up like the street, so they're actually able to do outdoor service there. So happy that they're at least getting a chance to do. I think they're actually going to be on Goldbelly pretty soon too. If it is, I'll let you guys know. It's the best hummus and pita you are ever going to have. I haven't tried it on Goldbelly yet. I would imagine it's not quite as good as fresh, but still will probably be really good.
If Harden is off the floor, should the Bucks try putting Giannis on Westbrook? Yeah, they've done it a little bit at moments in this game. I think that you want to make sure that Giannis is a little bit closer to the basket in help capacity. So sometimes if Westbrook is off ball with Harden on the floor, you'd rather have Giannis closer. But yeah, it's an option.
All right, we're seeing the 3-point field goal. So only 7 away, Danny. We got to track this now. They're 19 of 54. All they need is 7 3-point attempts in 6 minutes, and they'll get there. Their pace is slowed down a little bit, it seems like.
And a score update from the other game, it is 81-80 in favor of Dallas. Dallas is up 1 on Phoenix with about 5 minutes to go in the third.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if Phoenix wins all their games, they might have a chance to make the play-in game.
Hey, I'm excited to watch them.
But I will tell you this, though. If Dallas loses this game, they are basically the 7th seed. Here's the drive from Korver, blowing past McLemore. That is terrible defense.
I also thought he got fouled.
I mean, House assumed that there's another 3 from Hardin on the step back, right? That's 55. They're on pace. Giannis setting the screen for Middleton. His deep 3 is way short, though. Let's see if Harden goes to another step back here. They've run him off of that. He drives. Corner three. House above the break. Short. Rebound Giannis. Bucks.
Are they going to get to 70 in regulation? Probably not.
Yeah, it's 56, right? Here's Giannis. Oh, that's got to be a blocking foul. They don't call it. Tucker tried to go down, but it was an easy lay-in for Giannis. Giannis with the attack in transition. And, I mean, like, we haven't, it's, as Harden, yeah, he's going to get fouled. No three-point attempt, though, Danny. That's the problem.
If he had made it, he should have made it.
Well, and Giannis, he's got 34 points in 27 minutes. 34 points, 17 rebounds, 7 assists in 27 minutes.
Not only that, 1 turnover, 13 of 23 from the field. I mean, incredible.
And I mean,
only one credit.
And the crazy thing is, it's like, I think just because he hasn't played that much, it's like, and he's been scoring on these like really quick attacks, like you almost don't notice it the way you do with Harden, where he's like holding the ball for so long. But I mean, this has been a dominant performance. He's been easily the best player on the floor, and I feel like we haven't even talked about him.
Yeah, only those like, oh look, he dunked in transition again, or something you know, of that nature.
Yeah, for Houston, Westbrook and Harden leading them with 23 points apiece. Neither are shooting at 50% from the field, but they have gotten to the foul line. A combined 16 makes between the two former Thunder draftees. Houston within 1 as Harden hits all 3. Middleton on the drive. Covington got him with the quick hands. Harden looking to put Matthews in the mix. Won't let him step back. And Matthews reaches in again. He's saying, how the heck is that a foul on me? Yeah, and Harden, if you put your arm out like that, what he's going to do is he's going to put his right shoulder right through your arm and then lift his arm up. You just can't just leave your arm out like that. Like, James Harden will draw a foul on you. And Wes Matthews is complaining. I don't know what he's complaining about. Like, James Harden's been drawing that foul for like 10 years now. And Marvin Williams is going to replace Matthews. Wes Matthews on 5 fouls. So who's going to get the matchup on Harden here? This will be interesting. Looks like it's going to be George Hill. Let's see if they go back to that crazy strategy against Harden now, forcing him to his right. Yeah, it looks like that's what they're doing. He drives, tough pass to Tucker in the corner, but he misses the 3. And that's actually, you see how Harden had to throw that pass, Danny? Like kind of backhand with his left hand. Here's Marvin Williams, corner 3 in transition, misses Giannis on the glass, and they're going to get a hold, I think, on...
No, I think they're just calling it out of bounds.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we'll stay here. It was Westbrook who hit it. Thank you. But the way Harden has to throw that pass from right to left, he almost throws it backhand. He can't throw it with his right hand. Williams tried to sneak in. They missed him. Giannis has time. Facing up on Tucker. Help is with Westbrook on the near side. Giannis, hook shot underneath Lopez. Huge standing reach, scores. Nice pass. That was like an 80s style interior pass at close quarters.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And had the read, the timing on it was really impressive.
Yeah, they're trying to keep Harden off the step back now. Westbrook, nice pass. 3-pointer, Tucker, short again.
I think that's 58.
The box score I'm looking at says 59, but it could just be, we might be a little bit behind it. Here's Lopez going at Harden. That was a foul on Harden. He is lucky not to get called for that. Milwaukee on the verge of potentially taking control here.
They're gaining traction.
Harden going to his left, does not want that 3. Step back. Short. I mean, they're clearly going to set the record now.
Yeah.
Now
59 now.
Now it's Lopez in the post against Tucker. He has not had success in this matchup. He's got a spin baseline too here. Tucker's keeping him off of that. And Lopez just lowers his shoulder, but Hill, those sneaky Bucks guards along the baseline.
Yeah, that's 15 offensive rebounds for Milwaukee.
They're getting it into the post too late. Westbrook tries to steal it from Giannis. Giannis, wow, what a recovery, but he's short. Hits the rim. Another offensive rebound. Williams leaves it for Lopez. Patience stripped by Tucker. He gets it back. 3-pointer from Middleton. And it's good. What a sequence that is. And the Bucks now lead by 8. Could not control the defensive glass for Houston. Now Westbrook has Williams one-on-one. Into the lane. Tries to score. And he does. Finally, a shot. Is that the first made shot at the rim in this half for Houston? I think it might be.
I think it might be, yeah.
Lopez has Harden now on the post up. And he lost it out of bounds.
Yeah, just a little bit too much on it. Lopez, I think because there's a man on his body, he couldn't really jump. I mean, not that he jumps a ton anyway, to get it, and so that meant it was a turnover.
Yeah, Bucks post-entry passing has been a bit wanting today.
Yeah. So 59 three-point attempts for Houston, 2 off their, I believe, their own NBA record, and we'll probably see some history in the next few minutes. And before then, we'll answer some of your questions. When Bledsoe and Connaughton return, do DiVincenzo or Sterling Brown deserve minutes? DiVincenzo absolutely does. Like, as much as I've criticized him at moments tonight, he is a deserving part of the rotation. But he just, I think that what he does is a little bit more limited. There's no shame in that. Sterling Brown, probably not. Let me... Oh, that's a good one. From Scroop45. What do you think is a reasonable shot for Giannis to reliably learn or take in crunch time when he can't get all the way to the rim?
Yeah, he's starting to work on like that fadeaway across the lane. You know, that's a shot that he's hit in a few games this year where it's really looked good. I mean, I think that's probably it. You know, even I've also liked how they've gotten him the ball at the nail a few times. I mean, even just a straight face-up jump shot from there without dribbling, I think would even be enough. I mean, he just has to get some kind of a little bit. I mean, your other option would be, you know, maybe more of a jump hook out of the post, but something where you could just go to it credibly enough, especially late in games. I mean, it's a great point that he should add that.
Here's a good one from very_normally. This is more you than me for history. Which NBA player ever would be the best defender of Giannis? Off the cuff, one of my first thoughts was actually Kawhi because of how strong he is. Because I think strength is an important part of the game against Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, he proved that he could do a pretty good job last time, though, with a great defense around him, of course. By the way, if you're wondering why we're taking the tweets down, it's just to make sure that we don't accidentally spoil what happens in the game in the last 3 minutes. If, like, someone's like, oh, great shot, great game-winning shot, and we're behind it, that's just to avoid spoiling it for you.
Can Giannis learn a skyhook? Maybe. I mean, nobody's gotten it quite right.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one player in NBA history who's learned it, so I'm going to go with no.
Okay, between the Clippers, Lakers, and Bucks, who has the best third player? Off the top of my head, I don't think it's the Clippers because I'm trying to figure out who their third best player is.
Yeah, probably Brook Lopez, right, on the Bucks.
Yeah, and so then it's Brook versus, and then for the Lakers, Danny Green.
Yeah, I don't know if Frank Vogel would agree with that.
Yeah, but so I mean, Brook Lopez, he seems like the one there, and though Danny Green is more versatile.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brook Lopez is better than Lou Williams or Montrezl Harrell. And Brook
thank
Lopez
you for taking the tweets down. That was a good decision.
Yeah. Yeah, so Lopez, 21 points tonight. Houston, let's see if they can break the record here. Tucker did not want it. They get it back to Westbrook. 10 on the clock. He attacks. There it is, number 60, and it's good. Back to a three-point game.
That's exactly what Houston needed to stay in this game.
Yeah, now I think in particular, if you're the Bucks, you want to not help off that corner so much because you're up. You don't want to give up the three here. You want to trust your rim protection a little bit more. Hill, spin move on Harden, loses his footing. Here come the Rockets. Covington is ahead of the field. Can he finish? Yes. 1 point game.
And sometimes in those plays, Middleton, I think he might have been better off going for the steal than staying with Covington. just because you have a slight chance there of deflecting the pass.
Yeah, so the Bucks going with Hill at the 1 and Marvin Williams or Giannis at the 3. There's the strip. Houston can take the lead. Westbrook ahead, goes at Middleton, and finishes. Woo! So this has been a 9-0 Houston run, and all of a sudden, the Rockets are back in front. And here's where, let's see if Giannis can get them something here late in the game. He's got Harden on him. Back to goal. Cut off. Stopped by Harden. Throws it way up in the air. Late in the clock. Middleton's going to have to jack this one deep over Covington. Is way short.
Nothing. Wow. I mean, Milwaukee, some of it is Milwaukee's defense, but also Houston gotten a lot in transition here, too, to help with that 9-0.
So we'll get a little bit of a break here. What do you think of this Bucks lineup that's out here right now with, I guess you want to call Marvin Williams the 3 offensively?
I think that it's definitely not a great lineup for this like no threes concept that you and I had talked about. I mean, now you're kind of past that. I think that it's a little different without Bledsoe there, but I think you want to go a little bit smaller than that. Maybe use Marvin. I would see Marvin Williams and Brook Lopez as the inflection point rather than both of them on the floor.
Well, I think I'd go back to Wes Matthews for Marvin Williams at this point. He is on 5 fouls, but he's also a game best plus 14. I mean, he hasn't been hitting shots, but Williams hasn't been a huge threat shooting the ball either at 0 for 3. And maybe they just want more size.
Somebody brought up Pippen as the Giannis defender. I don't know. I mean, it was a little bit before my time. Was Pippen strong, like physically strong enough? I know he was long and really intelligent.
No, I wouldn't say so. That's one I'd probably need to think about a little bit more. Nobody's coming to mind. I mean, KG could be an interesting one.
Oh, yeah, that's a good call. Oh, so Patrick Boyce, this is a funny point. For the fact that a potential NBA Finals matchup between these two teams could be determined by corner threes from Jeff Green and PJ Tucker is pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, that is a lot of what Milwaukee's system is designed to do, is have it rely on teams like lower players in the pecking order, and so that can happen. It happened in the Warriors.
All right, we're back here.
Too.
I really dislike when they come back that quickly.
Abruptly.
Here's Matthews is back, gets his hand on it, keeping Harden off his left hand. 8 on the clock. Harden bothered again. Wow, that's a deep 3. We're not even close. But that's the record-tying 61st three-point attempt in regulation. Here comes Giannis looking to push. They're down 1. Hand off Matthews. Tough 3 from Matthews is off. Rebound Lopez. It gets knocked away. Lopez hooks across the lane, and it drops.
He gets it. Wow.
41.6 left. Houston, they got to get the 2 for 1 here. Westbrook's the man for it. He's guarded by Giannis. Tries to get baseline. Tucker is open. He missed him. And they're not going to get the 2 for 1. They blew it. Westbrook now pulls up a little late. Oh, and he got him in the arm. Oh, not good from Giannis. That is pretty minimal contact.
I didn't see it from that angle, but I'm pretty sure he did, because you have to kind of see it and hear it for that call.
Yeah, 4.5 second differential. Westbrook, 2 huge free throws coming here for the former MVP in the 16-17 season, gets the first. He has struggled from the line the last 2 years. Has picked it up lately, and he's been reliable today. Second free throw for the lead. Good.
Gets it. And those were both pretty smooth there for Westbrook. And yeah, you have to go quickly here as Milwaukee, because if you don't get it, then you're going to have to foul and do the opportunity. I don't think you can bet so much, like basically run the slow down version of this, because you can't get a 2 for 1.
I would love to see the replay of that foul. We never really got a look at it.
That's true.
So, yeah, with 28 seconds left here, I mean, maybe you would just try to have... Now, the 2 for 1 is as important, because you're not down 3. All you need is a bucket to score. I mean, I think you want to always have an initial option to score something right at the rim on these plays. But if you can't get it, then you just go into your offense, and you don't want to run it down to 5 seconds left, because if you miss, you want to have enough time to foul and then maybe they miss a free throw and you can come back again. So you're probably really around 10 seconds should probably be where you're really trying to shoot by in this situation.
I would even consider going earlier than that.
Well,
personally.
no, definitely. I mean, I'm saying go whenever you want, but really try not to go any later than 10 seconds.
Later than 10. Yeah, okay, that's fair.
So 1 point game, each team with a timeout. Houston has a foul to give here. They might. I would not use it, though. I would want to save it for a situation maybe where you're beaten and you can use it. I wouldn't want to use it right away.
I agree.
And you can also save it for later on as well if they're going for a 3 when they're down. They get Middleton into the corner. Oh, they're struggling to get it in. Finally, they do. Giannis, quick attack on coming in. Harden got a hand in. Didn't work. Giannis gives them the lead. That was
and no timeout here for Houston.
Yeah, and but they need to go quickly here. They shouldn't run the time down. Westbrook gets the screen, goes right to the rim. Giannis with the block. No, they're going to get a blocking foul on Chris Middleton. You agree with that call?
On the preliminary look, yeah, but I don't know what the arguing is about because
they want a goaltend. Oh, that's clearly a foul on Middleton, and I don't think Giannis made contact with it in the end. Let's see. Oh, he did touch the rim. That is actually technically a goaltend, but I hope they don't call it.
The best kind of correct.
Danny is rooting for them to call it here. Yeah, D'Antoni with the dismissive D'Antoni wave. Yeah, he definitely, I mean, now it didn't affect anything, but yes, that is technically a goaltend. They are right. And Houston, it might be the most technically correct team in the league. So Westbrook icing out these free throws. Let's see if he makes the next one.
Okay, so if you're Milwaukee, do you call your last time out here, or do you push and save it for later? I would save it.
Yeah, I think I would, especially because you can just get guys going quickly in transition. Like Giannis is better in a full court situation.
Yeah, run off a made free throw.
Another huge free throw coming for Russell Westbrook here. And the 31st point of the game for him. Giannis is going to push it up. He's got Harden on him. Tries to get into the lane. Nowhere to go. Throws it away. And Korver with no choice but to foul House. Oh, Giannis. That's the downside of that Eurostep game. If he picks it up and finds himself with nowhere to go, he can throw it away. And House with a great job. He was in help position. He's in the lane when this pass is thrown, and he gets all the way back out to the corner to intercept. Great job.
Yeah, and also Giannis committing that way, it's almost impossible unless you're LeBron James to get enough speed on that pass to create a problem for the defense, and so the velocity allowed House to be in two places at once.
Yeah, so good job by the Bucks not calling their timeout, though, because they'll have it here to advance it should they so choose. House hits the first free throw. Houston ice from the foul line here in these last couple of minutes.
Even if it's going to prevent them from potentially getting the three-point record.
Yeah.
From having it themselves.
That's right. It's still on 61. They're not going to set it in all likelihood. So 3-point game. They get it in. They don't use their last timeout. Still, Middleton looking to push it. He'll take the three. Oh, he's open. Misses. Rebound. Giannis has it. Trying to go back up, and he's hacked by Harden with 5.5 left. Good foul.
I think
Good
that's
foul.
A really smart foul. Yeah, because, I mean, now it forces a lot. They were in a scramble situation defensively. Brook Lopez, incidentally, was open beyond the arc. And now you get in the situation. Giannis also might not make the first free throw, but he has to miss the second.
Well, they have a timeout left.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't have to.
Yeah, no, I would not miss the second in this situation. Although, I mean, this is hilarious, right? Like, who can Houston even bring in? Like, if Milwaukee is like, okay, we're going to put Brook Lopez and Robin Lopez both in the game here for an intentional missed second free throw. Like, how is Houston going to stop that? They got Tucker, but he's the only one with enough beef to really box out. They'll be hard pressed to get a defensive rebound in an intentional miss situation. But
I love your theory here. Just like take the competitive advantage as you have it.
Yeah, but
well, I mean, they could.
What were you gonna say? Sorry.
No, I didn't have a good thing.
Fair enough. Hey, it's I don't have a good thing now either. Now we're really burned. So we'll see. I mean, you definitely make the first, obviously. 5.5 left. I think you probably still make the second, but you put in your 2 huge rebounders in case you do get a miss unintentionally. And everyone else is a three-point shooter.
That's right. That was the foul to give.
Oh, shit. Yeah, well, all right. Yeah.
Thank you to Dustin Whitehead for bringing that up before we saw it on the TV.
Well, all right, I think you're probably better off there if you're Milwaukee now. All right, let's see what they've got. They're going to try and set up Middleton here, you'd imagine. They try Korver first, then Middleton. Passed it a little late. Middleton with the shot from deep. Rims out. Hill with the save with 1.3 left. No, it went over the backboard. Yeah, Hill knocked it off of Hardin, but it went over the backboard, and Houston, in all likelihood, is going to take this one.
I mean, if you in this situation, if you catch it and just throw the ball in the air, something some teams do, but I'd like to see teams do more often, especially if you throw it hard towards the opposite basket, then you win.
Houston should take a timeout here and advance the ball. They're not going to. Harden trying to get open. He's being held, and they are going to get a hold. Budenholzer can't believe it. It was a hold by Giannis, but that's before the inbound, so that's one free throw and the ball, and we're done here, basically, if we weren't already.
What a comeback from Houston. I at least was thinking it was pretty close to over. Then they had that gigantic 9-0 run to not only get back in it, but to take the lead.
Well, and I think the Bucks, you got to just look at yourselves in the mirror for fouling. Like that Giannis foul on Westbrook, then Middleton committed a foul on Westbrook. Like, you didn't actually make them beat you. You gave it to them.
Yeah, and you could make an argument. Well, we'll talk about this plenty on Dunked On later on tonight. But they could have made Houston work harder for some of what they did, and so it's not a catastrophic loss. It doesn't make me think about the Bucks really any differently, and it's a huge win for the Rockets as they're trying to this makes it a lot more likely that they're out of the 7, but potentially get an even more favorable matchup in the first round.
Well, and I think it does make me think about the Bucks a little differently. Like, I really did not like their half-court offense against that switching Houston system today. I think they really struggled to create looks.
There were some process things that I didn't love here about pressing advantages and adapting.
Now, I will give them credit that they went to Brook Lopez more. I think that's an advantage that they can have. I mean, I'm just disappointed we didn't see history with the Rockets getting another 3. Like, when they were down with like 3 minutes left and they were 1 away, you're like, how are they not going to set the record? And yet, Milwaukee fouled them every time.
Well, we'll save a lot of our other big picture insights for Dunked On, but you can also support this, patreon.com/DuncanLaRue. We did a subscriber-only mailbag podcast last week. We answered a lot of questions. Twitch Prime, if you watch on Twitch and you connect your Amazon account, that could be an awesome way to do it. And you can also support us by checking out the League Pass broadcast we're doing. We're doing 4 over the next 5 days. Nate has posted the schedule. I will tweet it out and publish it as well. And it's really exciting that we're getting this opportunity. You can watch the game with us and our commentary. It's basically technologically exactly what we've always dreamed of, so you can check that out too.
All right, we'll talk to you all tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Spurs versus Sixers.